Oh, that's enough. Let's start the show. Welcome to GWARPod, my new show about GWAR, of course. Of course, I don't know if it has to be, I don't know that I had to officially say this, but I'm not officially associated with the band, so I'm sorry I can't get you interviews with other members. You gotta be on your own for that one. But welcome to the GWARPod, episode 2. We got a good one tonight. OG member himself, Don Drakulich. You probably know him as Sleazy P Martini. Let's get right to it. Are you ready? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. What's up, Don? How are you? Where are you?
Upstairs in my house,
That's a good place to be. We
and
were
I'm
just
not telling you where.
smart man, smart man.
Too many enemies.
Yeah, I know, right? We're gonna make some more tonight, hopefully. What do you
Okay,
think?
sure. Go
That
for
was
it.
some green jello. I don't know if for anyone who doesn't know who I am, I'm a musician and a videographer in the New York City area, and sometimes I'm member number 237 of Green Jello. Do you have any crazy Green Jello stories? I know you guys used to play together back in the day.
Well, yeah, when they showed up at our LA show, one of our first LA shows, and Bill Manspeaker came backstage. He had a little tablet
Was that was the
pen, and he asked us how we made our costumes.
yes, the famous meeting. Was Dookie Flyswatter there at that one too?
I thought that was a different show.
Yeah,
You
that
know
might
what?
have
That
been
might have been the same one. I'm trying to remember the club. Those
was
LA
it
clubs, I can't keep them straight for some
Club
reason in my mind. It seemed like we'd
Lingerie,
be playing a different one every time. And
Candelejas,
hmm,
Club Lingerie, they played a lot. I'm not from LA, but I know some of the classic clubs there.
yeah, only one I can remember is the Palladium, and we only played there once. We played with Henry Rollins.
Yes, actually, Green Jello played that show.
Did they play that show as
They
well?
did play that show, although I Bill says he has a flyer with his name on it, but the one I have just has I think Rollins band, GWAR, and Fluid, I think their name was. I don't remember. Some band that didn't go too far, I guess.
Hmm.
And there's actually a famous story from that show. Well, I'll mention this later too. I'll play a trailer, but I'm actually working on a documentary about Dookie Flyswatter and Haunted Garage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, what I heard was I believe Dookie brought members of GWAR to see Green Jello, and then you guys were, I don't know if you were there, but there was maybe
It's
like
possible.
9 people in the audience, and I know Mike Bishop was one of them because Bill
Yeah, yeah.
said,
Mike Bishop went, and I didn't see that show. And then
"Oh
he
yeah,
told me some about it. And then the next thing I know, I see Bill Manspeaker backstage,
yeah,
and he's taking notes.
right,
I'm telling him everything he needs to know about how to work with latex.
yeah," which he just threw out the window anyways, because his costumes are just duct tape and foam now.
Well, they are now,
They
but
are now,
yeah,
yeah,
when
they
they
used
were
to be a little
there,
bit more
he
elaborate.
was dipping. Yeah, he was using bed sheet and latex
Yeah,
on foam rubber.
yeah. And because I know he told me Mike went up to him after Mike Bishop went up to him after the show. This was when Three Little Pigs was a new song back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And he said, "That's your hit, dude."
Hmm.
He called it. Like
He
three
did. It
three or
made him
4 years
rich for a
beforehand.
little while. It made him rich.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a weird thing. They were nobodies, and then next thing you know,
Yeah,
we're
didn't you?
visiting their big studio there in
Right.
L.A.
That was Frank
And
Zappa's
I'm
old
like,
studio.
yeah, nice. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I hear you. Well,
Wow, you guys did real good with that record.
you know, when I was on tour with him in 2008, he said, I mean, who knows what's people talk all the time, but apparently he was talking to Dave Brockie about doing a tour with GWAR.
Yeah,
That would be a lot of costumes backstage.
yeah. When was that?
2008.
Oh,
So
yeah. Okay, I get. Okay,
could
that's
be. I
weird.
don't
That's
know.
really late. I would have thought it was sooner.
No. It was back then, yeah. Well, congratulations. Are you back?
I'm back.
Yes. I thought we were going to cheat the system tonight, but
You can see Bunker Bits
nice.
from the Rumble show on. They're up right now.
Do you want to tell everybody about what you've been doing on the YouTube? I mean,
Yeah. Well, I go Wednesday nights at 10 and Saturday nights at 10, and I go Sunday nights on Twitch at 10. I run a
is that
movie. I run a 3D movie, usually
right?
bad movies.
Wait, I have a prop for that. I learned from the best and oh no, where did it go? I did have your 3D glasses out.
Mm.
I have it was in my case for the After Dark. Are you still doing that too, or is that
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of
gonna bring
over?
out season 2 is almost ready to come out.
Yes. I was gonna ask about that.
Season 2. I wish I could show you the art. Darn it.
Stay tuned, people, for the artwork.
It's on I guess I could I don't know. I could make a JPEG and send it to you, and you could flash it up on the screen real quick.
I
Can you do
could,
that?
if you want to, I could do that.
I could see if I can do that real quick.
I could fill some time while you do that.
Well,
Live
just
from the bunker. That's what you're doing right there. That's
live
like
from
the
the
YouTube show.
bunker. Yeah,
I tune in when I can. You know, you're actually in competition with the Green Jello live stream every week.
I am.
Yeah, on
No
Saturday
wonder
nights.
my numbers suck.
Yeah.
They're stealing it all from me.
Yeah, I know you got to do a collabo. Although he's in LA. I think they're moving the show. I think they might be moving to Tuesday nights though. Are you doing anything Tuesday nights?
Um, Not right now. Why?
I think they're moving it from Saturday to Tuesday. This is not official info, but I heard a rumor that they're moving the show to every Tuesday. They're going to go live from the whiskey.
They're going from live from the Whiskey a Go Go.
Yeah, can you believe that?
That's weird.
Yeah, every two. I think they're gonna because they do a live show, you know, and they have featured bands and everything like that. It's pretty impressive, actually.
Hmm.
He's been doing it out of his living room, but I guess they're going up to greener pastures.
They're blowing up.
Yeah, kind of like the '90s all over again.
All
Well,
right.
let's start.
Go
I
ahead.
want to go way back to the origins of GWAR
Mm-hmm.
because I'm probably most fascinated with that. And also, I'll probably ask you some crazy mythos questions that may not have an answer, but feel free to make one up in classic GWAR fashion.
Okay.
Let's see. Did you? Oh, yeah. Wait, before I go there, this is an important question. What did you think of the documentary?
Um. Uh. It was okay. I think a lot of people who deserve to be better featured were highly lacking. You know,
Right.
it's going to be misleading.
Sure.
For instance,
And
after he came back, Hunter Jackson's level of I mean, he wasn't so much into fabrication once he came back. He stayed up and did mostly comics and mail order,
yeah, the Mind Control monthlies.
merchandise, things like that.
Mhm.
I think people might get the impression it was just a Dave Hunter deal. It wasn't.
No, I think the movie made a good case that it wasn't that.
Mm. That's what Chuck saw it. He was upset.
Yeah, I heard that, which is, you know, so my
He
first
was interviewed for
episode,
a long time, and it was only like 2-3 quotes got in there.
yeah,
I when I first saw the thing, I was mad because I was downplayed,
yeah,
and so I just I just made a stink, and they happened to be using some of my footage as well from Hypereal.
mhm.
So, I sort of leveraged that to say, hey, shoot some more footage with me. Um, you know,
Did they?
Mike Bishop is not the person to be talking about what we went through in art school. He wasn't there. You know, he
Right.
wasn't in. Never went. Was never an art student, and he never went to BCU. So,
Yeah.
you know, having him say stuff about what the artist went through while being at BCU, it's like you should have an artist repeat that. So
Hmm.
why don't you feed that line to me? So I kind of, you know, and this time I was real chipper. Yeah, lots of enthusiasm, you
Hmm.
know, because the first time they interviewed me, I was low energy, you know,
Sure. I
I
could
was
see
low
how that could be
energy,
cut for like, just cinematic purposes.
and so keeping that in mind, I um, came back and I was like, ah! You know, a lot of that,
Hmm.
just so that my sound bites would be more likely to be used, you know.
Did it work?
I guess so, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it
I
is
mean,
tough to
you
like
know, it was
pack that
more of
history
me.
into 2 hours,
But you know, there were people in there who got way too much FaceTime. We weren't in there but 10 minutes, that band. And there
Sure.
are people who were crucial to it who were not lauded at all, you know.
Well, my first episode was actually with Scott Barber, the director. So I did ask him a lot of these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, like, did you try to get in touch with people like Scott Krall, Mike Boner, uh, Dave
Dave Muscle.
Muscle? Dave
Dave
Muscle,
Muscle.
yeah, and he said they tried and they couldn't find them,
I
more or less.
you know, I don't know, you know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
yeah, because I would love to hear
I'm
from those
getting
guys.
I'm getting differing reports on that,
I'm
but
sure.
I don't know. That's all
Yeah,
I have to say, you
that's
know.
fair. Okay, well now let's take it back to the early days. Did you live at the dairy? Were you one of those?
Yeah.
There's the dairy. What can you give us a little bit more of a perspective of what that was like? Or do you think the movie represented that pretty well?
Well, you know, I was working on a documentary that got backburnered for
Mm.
various political reasons, and it's you know, I may still finish it, but
Well, dare I ask what the documentary was?
it was about the first 3 years of GWAR
Oh,
when it formed in the dairy. So
so
it was
you're
basically
talking
the
about
dairy
the This
days
Is GWAR
specifically.
project.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well,
It had different names, you know, but it was about those days. Yeah, and
yeah.
so
I've been highly anticipating that, so I was gonna ask you about that.
yeah.
Do you think there's
Well,
renewed
I know I'll
interest?
sell at least one copy
Yes,
when it's
I'm first
finally
in
finished.
line, buddy.
Somebody's gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Yay! But
Well, do you think
what was it
Shutter will
like?
buy
Well,
it?
it was filthy. You know,
Yeah.
it was filthy and disgusting. It
What
was
were the
full of dust and
bathrooms
asbestos,
like?
and there was no insulation in anything. And so when a winter hit, that place was just cold, clammy
Mm,
concrete. You know, ice cold, clammy concrete everywhere. And one of my studios that I had, studio apartments, I guess you'd call it. It wasn't really an apartment because there's
right.
no,
Yeah, it's all squatting, right? I mean,
yeah, it's
technically.
squatting. We were allowed to use it um, as a artist space,
Sure.
but technically we weren't supposed to live there. But
Right.
you know, hey, I fell asleep. I was working all night. You
Yeah.
know,
All day, every day.
every day I'm working so hard I keep falling asleep in my studio. So you know, everybody looked the other way. It was all, you know, everybody
Sure.
had, you know, lots of people were living in the dairy, and it was a lot of fun because you know, there was always something going on. It was like a big art house fraternity. You
Yeah.
know, it was the prototype slave pit,
Sure.
and it wasn't as fun as the 2010 Chamberlain days,
Hmm.
but
That's
it,
an address, not a year, right?
that's what.
That's an address, not a year, right?
Yeah, 2010 Chamberlain was where we did the Phallus in Wonderland, Skullhead Face, on up
Hmm.
till right on through Violence Has Arrived.
Right.
So, what's your let's see, what's your email address?
Oh, I actually just emailed you a couple minutes before the
Oh, okay,
show,
that's
so
right.
you should
Duh.
be able to respond to me real quick like that.
Okay, let me hit that.
Forgot you were emailing me. Good reminder.
Here, I'll just I'll send it in the reply.
Yeah, that's great. What here's a question I just thought of.
hmm
What other projects were people developing in the dairy, and did any of them come to light?
Well, you've heard the story. I'm sure Hunter told it, and he was
Yeah.
going to
I
do
mean,
his
I know
movie,
Death Piggy and the
Scum
Scumdogs
Dogs of the
movie.
Universe.
Right.
Yeah. There was another band called The Alternatives.
Yes,
And
and that was also an early version of GWAR. They all
yeah,
were in
that
GWAR.
became an early version of GWAR until they got signed to SST Records, and then they
Mhm.
decided they were going to go on to uh, brighter pastures. So
Mhm.
you know, that's what happened with that. Let's
Do
see
you
here.
yeah.
I'm
Like, is there
just a
any
little
artists out there
confused.
now that
Ah,
like
okay, I got it. I was just looking for the file.
oh, gotcha.
I'm really excited about this for this copy. I mean, this compilation
Nice.
because
Is this gonna
well,
have
I like
the
the
Thor movie on it?
graphics. I like the cover. I like doing graphic covers. So
Mhm.
you know, this one I decided right off the bat. I said it's going to have a blue theme. Since I had a red theme
Sure.
for the season one, I was going to go with a blue theme for season two. So more politically balanced, I guess.
I guess so. Well, we'll get into a little bit about that later.
I just sent it to you, by the way. You can
Okay,
probably.
great. I'm looking for it. So were you oh, here's what I want to ask. Do you remember any maybe details that other people don't about the Scumdogs movie? Like, was there a script? Like, how developed
I
was
got
it?
lots of details I can give you.
Yeah. Anything you're willing to share?
Yeah. So I would go by there and check it out. And I didn't help work on the movie. I only
Right.
helped work on some stuff for the early GWAR shows.
Right.
But I would check in there and I would see Chuck wailing away,
Mhm.
working on stuff, building the set, and I remember one time he had put a whole, 2 days work or something like that into it. And he, put all his time into it. And then afterwards, like Hunter said, this is all wrong. Do it
Mhm.
over again.
Mm.
Chuck was like, oh, crushed. He was like, and I'm like, I'm looking at this and I'm going, this it's like a collection of garbage. What difference does it make? You're
Right.
just grabbing random junk and you're gluing it on a wall and trying to pass it off as machinery. You know how you can do that, right?
Mhm.
Just get the,
Sure.
the styrofoam, filler pieces that when you buy a stereo or a
Uh-huh.
TV,
Uh-huh.
yeah, you pull those out and you glue them on a wall, hit them with some latex paint, and then you've got a cool space age wall,
Mhm.
because it's all random machine part looking, thing. And but anyways, he put in all that work and um, and
And it turned into
Hunter
GWAR.
Hunter just missed it and wanted it done over again.
Mhm.
So as the show, as the first after the first GWAR show, first they did a couple of GWAR shows
Yeah. Is this
that were just
maybe the
like that.
first GWAR show?
Yeah, yeah.
Were
There
you
was
on the
it
show?
was like that, and nobody gave a shit. Nobody
Mhm.
cared. And then they did one at PB Kelly's. That was the one
Yes.
I helped build a prop for.
I have that
Um,
somewhere.
and that I did. I worked in Hunter's
PB
slave pit.
Kelly's.
Hunter's slave pit. Helped build I guess it was called the Sultan of Sin
Right.
staff. You know, um, you can see briefly the guy carrying when he enters the club. He's got the weird helmet with the fireworks on his head.
Mhm.
And so, after that, people, the artists really dug the feedback, that we were getting. It's like
Sure.
movie is a long-term, hard, arduous project that
Yeah.
you're not going to get the endorphin feedback for a long time.
Exactly. Yeah.
But a show, hey, there's going to be babes there next week.
Right.
Something that it gets you fired up. You're gonna collect cool points. You're gonna be on stage, and and there's something to work for that's coming up relatively soon. Anyways,
Yeah.
so Hunter, see, Mike Delaney and Chuck had both moved into the slave pit,
Hmm.
and they got a really big space up on, I guess it was on the second floor, I believe, or the third. I'm in the third. That place was like a as I called it, it was like a who's that artist, famous
Escher.
artist? Escher maze.
Yeah.
It was like an MC Escher maze. It was just crazy.
Gotcha.
You'd get lost in it. Even if you'd been back and forth to your room many times, you'd still.
Yeah.
But anyways, so they got a really big spot. It was called, and they called it the Swamp.
Hmm.
And they had so much bigger and spacious. And so immediately making props, or almost making props for GWAR shows, transferred over to there.
Mm.
And when people started working on that stuff, then it was kind of like crickets over at the Scumdogs of the Universe set.
Hmm. Hmm.
It was just Hunter kind of picking away by himself now at this point.
Right.
And I'm guessing that he felt some resentment. He felt like the project, what he was trying to do, was getting away from him. Now
Sure.
this band was taking over, and he, I'm assuming he felt like didn't have as much control. When it was his movie, this is my baby. When
Hmm.
it's GWAR, it's kind of like everybody involved, baby, and especially
Right.
Dave Brockey's baby, because he
Right.
was the one who was putting together the band.
Are
And
you in this photo?
no, I'm not. You got Joey Anaroma there
Yeah.
in the middle. He was a good lead singer, but him and Dave didn't get along,
Hmm.
and so that's why he didn't last. And you've got Colette on the far right. She was the second GWAR woman.
Hmm.
There's Amazina, I guess it was. Well, she was Amazina, and this was what? The Huntress. That's what.
Right.
So the girl that's behind Joey Anaroma.
Next to Gorgor.
Yeah, well, yeah, right next to Gorgor. That was Hunter's girlfriend.
Right. Yeah.
Heather.
Broom.
Huh?
Broom.
I think could be. Um, there's a lot of Heathers in our life for some
Right.
reason. Mike Bonner got married to a Heather.
Oh, okay.
Hunter Jackson went out with a Heather.
Yeah.
I ended up marrying a Heather.
Oh,
It was like
wow.
that movie Heathers, it's like a lot of Heathers.
Yeah. Here's another one that's apparently
There's
from in the middle of the milk bottle.
there is I believe that's Mike Delaney in the might have graduated to being a Cardinal Sin character.
Right.
I'm not sure yet. He started out as the Sultan of Sin,
Mm-hmm.
So that basic design, that cone head, was Mike Delaney.
Gotcha.
So he set the basic premise of going with the cone head. At that time, it was known as the Sultan of Sin. Just thought I'd throw that in there because
this is what we love here. We love the
a lot of
details.
people contributing ideas, and they don't get credit. Let me see if I can interview Mike Delaney myself for my
How long
show.
was he in GWAR?
Huh?
How long was
Very
he in
short
GWAR?
time.
Yeah.
So he was gone by 87.
Okay.
He decided to chase a girl to Missouri who decided to go to graduate school, and that didn't work out.
Right.
So he ended up back in Richmond. Hunter Jackson decided to go with Heather to Detroit.
Right. Yeah, he was a prison guard for a while, right?
Yeah, he was prisoner guard for a while, and then he basically, since he felt like he was losing control of the band, he thought he would just leave, and decided to stash
all the costumes.
which caused conflict later.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
get into some of that. Not like,
no,
the whole techno
no,
thing.
no. He eventually relinquished them and,
Yeah,
and let us use some. But we were already starting to build our own costume pieces.
right.
At that point, things like Cornelius Carnage, that character became Beefcake the Mighty. That was, that 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 gladiator centurion helmet,
Is that you in
motif
the
was already
background?
set. I already did that in by 86, so we just kept using that helmet.
Right.
And that's kind of what would happen. It was costume pieces that float around from character to character, and then finally
Hmm.
come to rest on one person when it seemed to fit, and then we sort of build characters around that look, or things like that. But there's Steve Douglas.
Is this in
Uh,
the dairy?
yeah, that's my studio.
That's your studio. Okay, we got one. All right.
Yeah, that was my studio. We had nothing left. We'd been kicked out. Everybody had been kicked out except me, and I had a third-story studio. I used to heat it with a wood stove. So I
Wow.
inherited that space from Ralph Fleming, and he had a wood stove in there, which was, God, man, that was luxury.
Hmm.
That was luxury in that place, man. Everybody else was just kind of huddling around electric, space heaters and shit, which don't do shit when you have a room that large that's just ice cold concrete on all sides. You know what I mean?
Is that you in this
So
picture?
I had a wood stove, and I'd go by the train tracks that were downtown, and with my Volvo, a
Hmm.
couple of paper bags, and I'd go around and I'd pick up coal.
Oh, wow.
I'd pick up coal under the train trestles because the train trestles, they would rock and the coal would kind of bounce out and fall off, and then there's always coal spilled around. He taught me that trick. He taught me that trick. Dude's urban survivalist. Ralph
Hmm.
Fleming, and a decent abstract expressionist artist too. Is a friend of mine in college. I met him practically, like, oh, I don't know. He's one of the first friends I made at VCU. But anyways, um, yeah, I'd heat that studio with coal in a wood stove,
Did you have a
and
name for your studio?
huh?
Did you have a name for your studio?
No, I don't do shit like that.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need names for things. I call it my studio. Well,
That's a good name.
it became the slave pit, I guess. At that
Yeah.
point, it might have been known as, but considering what it was the swamp, and there was
Sin,
sometimes
something
the
of
inner
sin,
slave
right?
pit. Those were much larger. This was just one really big room. It was probably about, oh, I don't know, 40 feet by 20 feet, maybe
Hmm.
30 feet by 20 feet. It wasn't large. Yeah, it's probably more like 30 by 20, 30 by 15.
Hmm.
Anyways, you saw it there. It was crowded.
Yeah.
Just full of crap in no time.
Right.
Yeah. I only stayed there, and then I was the last one to get kicked out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so basically, during the last year of our being in the dairy, more and more people were getting kicked out as they keep refurbishing and kind of different parts of the dairy. People
Mm.
had to leave. And so I was one of the last ones still up maintaining a space up on the third floor. But a lot of people who were in GWAR got jobs, like Mike Bonner, Dave Brocky. They got, and I think Hunter Jackson did as well. They got jobs doing demolition work,
Oh, right. So they
construction
would just
work
work there.
in the dairy. They had
Hmm.
this highfalutin idea they were going to turn it into some, art colony torpedo factory, in downtown Richmond.
That could
And
sound like one of their ideas.
it like just about everything in Richmond. It took forever. I probably changed ownerships a couple times, and finally they made it into some luxury apartments, sort of some
That's what I
downtown.
heard, right? That's what it
Huh?
is now? That's what it is now, right?
Yeah, at least they kept the facade. It
Right.
looks the same, so you can still go down there and point. Wow, that's where GWAR was
I
born.
will. One day I'm gonna make the pilgrimage and I'm
And
gonna visit the GWAR bar.
it's awfully close to the GWAR bar.
That's
It's
what I
walking
heard.
distance from the GWAR bar, so you can get drunk at the GWAR bar, walk over, take a look, take some pictures.
That's what I'm gonna do one day. I'm gonna make
Yeah,
my pilgrimage.
you can document.
Yeah.
document the events as they happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. That's
That's
the early
an original Sleazy
incarnation.
P.
I didn't have nothing special. I had a black suit, you know, so I just put a black suit on with a black shirt and had the mustache, grease paint mustache, eyebrows,
And
and
how much of the previous manager characters did you keep? 'Cause it was like
none.
a Sluggo, right?
Well, we kept the P Martini.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah, that was the Dave Brocky contribution.
Hmm.
He was two Sluggo P Martinis. One was Michael Moore, who was a video guy that worked with Hunter Jackson
Right,
and filmed
right.
the PB Kelly show.
Yes, the Pubes
And
in
I think he
Wonderland,
makes a
yeah.
brief appearance in that as well. I'm not sure. Does he? Anyways, yeah, he's
I don't
at the
know what he
PB
looks
Kelly
like.
show. He filmed the PB Kelly show. And
Mhm.
the other one was Tim Herman. He was Sluggo P Martini, and he only lasted one show.
I think he was watching my show last time.
Tim Herman?
I think so, maybe.
Weird. I'd like to reach him.
Yeah, well, I'll see what I can do,
Yeah,
if I'm
maybe I can get an
correct.
email from him. I can interview him.
Awesome.
But yeah, he was in and out real quick.
Was
Was
there
there any
ever
time in your life you didn't want to be sleazy, or it wasn't fun anymore? Says Diana Alayani. Uh, I didn't want. It's not that I didn't want to be sleazy anymore, but I did get tired of touring, and so
right.
that's why I stopped. I didn't. Wasn't
You
as
s
fun for me as it is for other people.
Although I would argue that you've been sleazy more in the past few years than you have in your whole time in GWAR
Oh,
with
that's
the
for
live
sure.
streams.
As far as live streaming, I put in now there's way more footage of me doing that than anything else by far.
Do you
I've been
have
live streaming since really since the COVID thing hit. That was why
Yeah,
I was live from the bunker. You know,
right.
Justin talked me into doing it, and I'll be honest, I was kind of reluctant. Here's the thing: I'm old school, and
Mhm,
so I couldn't imagine that anybody giving a shit about um, somebody getting in in front of a video camera talking.
mhm,
I studied film. I was really into film. So was Hunter, or
right.
somewhat. He was more of an artist, but he wanted to make films after he came out
Mhm,
of art school. I took a lot of film classes in VCU. I wanted to double major, but I realized that they didn't have a film department. But anyways, I was of the mindset. It's like I don't want to do that. I want to have sets, and I want to have scripts, and I want to have lighting, and I want to have
mhm.
production value, and I want to have actors and effects, and you know,
Yeah, and that stuff takes
I couldn't
time.
imagine. I couldn't imagine just sitting in front of a camera and running my mouth, even though I guess I'm pretty good at it. But
You seem to be enjoying it.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, yeah. It's sort of like it's like riding a giant monster wave on a surfboard.
Mhm,
It's fun, but it's a little like nerve wracking at the same time. Like I hope I
sure.
don't fall off. Kind of.
Does it help, like, being a character while doing it?
Well, I dropped that character a lot. As I've done it, I've dropped that character more and more and more and
I was
more.
gonna ask, how much of Don is in Sleazy now?
Oh God, it's probably 80%, please.
Yeah,
The one thing though, it's good is it covers for my people will take that kind of commentary a lot. They're a lot more accepting of it when you're in
mhm,
that costume than they would be if I was like this.
yeah,
So if I sit there and start
sure.
spewing political points of view, um, like the way I am now, I have no cred, in
Mhm,
that department. But as sleazy, at least I have a certain kind of cachet as a humorous character.
right,
You can
right.
get away with stuff. It can be dismissed or written off as being just a character, what the character says. So, you know,
Do you
um,
think you have amassed a following as Sleazy on YouTube that is different than Sleazy and GWAR?
maybe, but I can't tell. I can't tell how
Yeah,
many are actually were got into it because they were GWAR fans. I've got a fair amount who came over from Styx Hexenhammer.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. Who's that? What did you do with him?
He's a political commentary type person as well. You know,
Okay, is he? Well, I
he's
guess they're
right
all
wing,
sort of characters.
more or less. He's not really, in a way.
Yeah.
These people are like Tim Pool. They call themselves libertarian. You know, media calls them right wing extremists. It's like, gee, I vote Republican sometimes. You know, I don't think of myself as a Nazi. You know, of course that's been the plan all along. It's just make supporting the Republican Party, or in particular Donald Trump, as the ultimate third rail. You've watched the show enough. I'm sure you get a little feeling of where my political leanings are, right?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure, and I'm not sure if I want to ask outright. But if you
Right.
want to,
Well,
if
that's
you want
fine.
to,
I don't mind discussing politics with
yeah,
people as long as they're not going to get hysterical about
right.
it.
Well, I
Right.
won't
I
get
have a lot of
hysterical.
liberal friends. Most of them
Right.
are.
I
I've been
imagine.
canceled by a few just because over the last few years, which I think is just utterly outrageous. You know,
I
it's
mean,
just,
don't we agree that sort of all politicians are garbage, though, right? Is that
except for Donald Trump. Yes.
except for Donald Trump?
Except for
But
Donald Trump.
can
Yeah.
we call him a politician, or
He's an outsider.
he is definitely an outsider?
That's why they hated him. See, people don't, I will say this. A lot of people like to say, oh, they're all corrupt. Or he's, I've had this argument. He is so corrupt. And it's like, really? If he was so corrupt, he would have fit right in. Think about it. Why did they go after him so hard? They started going out of their minds like in 2015 because they knew there was a guy who's was a new sheriff coming to town who might actually enforce some law. Of course, he never got a chance because when he got there, he realized, this DC scene is really,
Wasn't he
as they
going to
say, the
drain the
swamp is
swamp?
deep. The swamp is deep and the swamp is wide. And he got overwhelmed to a degree on his first, in his first term once he realized what he was up against. But you can tell how deep and wide the swamp is. Even a lot of Republicans became obvious that they were out to get him. They were just as bad as a lot of Democrats. But when you saw the media, what they did to him, and what the media doesn't do to Biden now that we have essentially a senile man, in control of the country. I mean, at least treat him the way you treated Trump. But they're constantly excusing and ignoring Biden's fuck ups while
Well,
they
yeah, I
made
don't think anyone was very adamantly pro Biden. Like,
it's hard to believe he got 81 million votes, the most
I agree.
the
I
most
mean, but I guess when you
popular
only have
president of
two
all time.
options, when you only have two options.
6 million more votes than Obama. Hard to believe.
Well,
But
I have a
anyway, we're
question
not here to
about,
talk about that.
yeah.
We're
Well,
not here to talk about
I'm
that
I'm
stuff.
gonna
That bores
segue it.
people.
I'm gonna segue it back into GWAR.
Yeah.
What ticket was Sleazy on when he ran for president in 1992?
The Illuminati Party, I believe.
There you
At least
go.
at one point in
Third party.
2008. In 2008, became an Illuminati Party candidate, which made no
Gotcha.
sense because he was sitting there. Well, I don't know. You saw the campaign speech, I think, right? With the flag behind him. It ran before some of the 2008 electoral dysfunction.
Oh yeah, I must have. Yeah, of course. I missed
Yeah,
that
the
tour
flag
because I
behind
was on tour with Green Jelly, but I have the DVD.
Yeah, his platform was to eliminate 90% of the human race, and
Right.
won't you help me to kill all of you? It's just,
I have a pitch for you. I think maybe this would be interesting, but I think there should be a comic book or a movie about young Sleazy. Because here's part of the mythos that I'm fascinated with, but I've never heard anyone elaborate on. So
yeah,
maybe you can elaborate on.
yeah,
Pre-GWAR,
yeah.
Sleazy was in the Congress?
Yeah, I think he was a congressman.
Yeah, he's a
He was a
congressman. Tell me
presidential
about
aide.
Sleazy the congressman.
then he became a presidential aide, I believe.
See, we need that story.
He had mob CIA ties when he was growing up, and then he became a congressman. Then he became a presidential aide to Reagan. Then he decided to go into show business because he didn't like politics anymore. Probably because it was just too corrupt.
Too corrupt for Sleazy?
Too corrupt for Sleazy.
Wow. That's a
I know, hard to believe, right?
yeah.
Too corrupt for a murderous pimp drug dealer. So
that's yeah. So
did
he get anything done while he was in Congress?
He got into band management, and
yes,
he managed his first band was the Pansies from Hell.
That was my next question.
Right, so he managed the band Pansies from Hell. They all got slaughtered apparently by Grambo and the Morality Squad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's in a comic. I think Hunter kind of added that mythos. It was in a comic. And,
what was the genre and like the image for the Pansies from Hell?
Pansies from Hell were transsexual punk rock band. So GWAR, by the way, GWAR's always predating or predicting the future,
right?
Like, all the time. Like
the Simpsons.
I was doing a thing. I did a magazine interview, and I was once again I was running for presidency. I think it was the '92 election.
Probably. Right. Yeah, that's when that picture was from.
Yeah,
I believe.
And part of my platform was
legalized crime.
Yeah, legalized crime, and I said urban redevelopment using Crips and Bloods, i.e., they were going to burn the place down, you know. And man, the Rodney Allen King riots broke out right afterwards. It was weird.
Oh wow!
You know?
I liked I liked the voting / porno booths.
Yeah, combo. They'll get the turnout, improved turnout. Right.
Was Prestige one of Sleazy's bands?
That was not my idea. That was a Dave Brocky idea. He was always thinking about alternative bands that he wanted to do. And only Ex-Cops got developed to a point where it was a real side project band. But he had some crazy conceptual band ideas that he wanted to do.
Yeah, here's another one. Maybe it was one of his Youth Gang Hideout.
Yeah. Youth Gang Hideout was a I think that was the ultimate skinhead hardcore punk band. And I came up with the name. I came up with the name for the lead singer, Toe Enamel.
Right, and
he was going to. One of the jokes was while the band is playing, he would bench press the PA stacks on either side of the stage while laying on a bench press, and then just, that was when the show would start. You know, some fake PA stacks. He would be bench pressing them. He was the most intense dude of all time. He was going to be, just so intense. Nothing but bulging veins and fury was the plan. And he got turned into the drug addicted character from
the Beyond Hell.
Beyond Hell, yeah.
Right, I forget his name right now.
And it got made into some. They took some old arms that I was making for a movie.
Zog,
huh?
Zog
played that character, and he did a head. It was all blue, kind of, and yeah.
I think that was Zog.
Oh, that's a different character.
That's a different guy.
Yeah, that was for Lust in Space. That was Lust in Space.
No,
tour.
Oh right.
But I think that was in the same. Might have been in the same tour. Think of it. That character might have been appeared in the same tour.
Or maybe they just reused the costume and I'm getting them confused.
No, Zog is definitely different.
Okay.
Zog has a kind of a double mouth, a mouth inside the mouth.
Okay.
And Toe Enamel was this just a really crazed blue-looking punk rocker, kind of a Billy Idol. Kind of a Billy Idol meets
Gigi Allen or something.
More like Sid Vicious.
Okay.
The overall look of Sid Vicious, spiky hair and that sort of thing, and I
Did he
forgot
ever
what
write any
I
songs
forget
for
what the
these
song
bands?
was about. It was about doing drugs, though.
Right. Yeah.
And once
Yeah.
again, Dave predicting his own demise in a weird way. Um, he was always a lot of that. You can go back through the lyrics and see a lot of that. These predictive programming, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Tragic as it may be.
Well, let me go back a little bit again. I've always been fascinated with this, I guess, touchstone in the GWAR history, the Schaefer Court show.
Mm-hmm.
Are we ever going to get to see this? Can we tell us a little bit about this show? It seems to be like a really big deal in GWAR history, and I would love to have been there. I see there's some video footage of it in the documentary.
That was a top shelf experience for me.
Yeah, that's what
And
I
I
keep
mean,
hearing.
almost everybody else as well. The audience was all on acid. I
Oh,
think there
wow.
must have been like, you know, it must have been. It seemed like there was just a shipment came in or something at the perfect time. It was Halloween, which at VCU, the art school, Halloween is just the shit, because you're dealing with a bunch of artists, so there's going to be great costumes. You're not going to see your fucking typical, oh, I'm a cat, I'm a
Mhm,
mouse sort
mhm,
of girls have an excuse to be slutty kind of shit. It's more
mhm.
like some crazy conceptual costumes. But anyways, there was acid blew into town, and it seemed like everybody dosed for this show. And so there I am. That was the mythos there of how I became the new manager. This is my
Oh.
premiere. This is my premiere, Sleazy P Martini.
Oh, wow.
And I found the ugliest thrift store clothes I could. You know,
Yeah,
uh,
it's developed for sure.
yeah. But I found the ugliest thrift store clothes that I could. I had the drawn on, I guess, mustache and eyebrow.
There's
And
another one of you in the background.
that thing I was holding up was supposed to be that was Dave's drawing. It was his sculpture of what was supposed to be the rotted corpse of Sluggo P Martini. So I come on
Mm.
stage, I confront GWAR about having killed my brother, and to inform them that, but I am now their manager. I'm taking over. And yeah, look at that. I got a cigarette. I got a
Oh,
cigarette
yeah.
even then, man. I feel naked without that cigarette,
Consistent.
Yeah. But yeah,
There's
I
horrible.
made the giant cockroach costume for that,
Okay. Was
and that was a breakthrough. That was when uh, I introduced cloth and latex into how to fabricate costumes, which was a real breakthrough because we were using wood glue
Mhm.
and cloth, and wood glue and cloth, once it gets wet, softens and
Okay.
eventually starts to dissolve. If you leave something that's made of wood glue out in the rain, it's going to melt. It's going to wash away eventually. We didn't know that
Oh,
until we
no.
started
I hope it
warm.
didn't rain that night.
Well, it's not because it rained, but I
Yeah.
mean, with the
Well, the
spew,
blood and everything, yeah.
yeah, the costume pieces started to soften. So I made the cockroach costume out of latex, and that became the blueprint that we would pass on to uh, Bill Manspeaker.
Mhm, mhm,
Which it was bed sheet and latex. And then we changed from bed sheet and latex to cheesecloth and latex because it's more porous and easier to apply. But
mhm.
that show was the first show we got paid some decent
Oh,
money.
wow.
Yeah,
Cool. Right,
yeah.
because
We got,
colleges
I
have
think it was
budgets.
$500 or $750. And then Dave Brocky promptly lost the check that night.
Oh, no. Was he on the acid?
Everybody was.
Yeah.
Everybody was.
Oh, no. Don't pay someone while they're tripping.
No, no, no. Don't let him carry the money.
Right. That too.
But we got the check replaced,
Okay, that's good.
and so, but it was like so typically Dave, so typically Dave. But that show was huge. There was like, I don't know how many people were there, maybe 1,000,
Hmm.
at least 500, because that whole Schaefer Court was full. For some reason,
Mhm.
everybody knew to be there. Everybody knew it was going to be legendary. And it was. We had a giant jet engine
Right.
on a cable, which was, now you think back on it, was kind of stupid. That thing
Yeah.
fell, and from that distance where it was initially, it was like 30 feet up.
There it is, right?
And
That's the
that thing
behind the
could have hit
scenes.
landed on somebody's head and broke their neck or something, while it was coming down. But we didn't give a shit. The show must go on. That was our
Hey, it
attitude.
worked out.
It always that was always our attitude. The show must go on. Somebody's hurt, too bad. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had that, and we had characters that didn't do shit. They were just there. This character called the Watcher.
The
This guy in a
Watcher.
tall,
That's the first I've
yeah, he
heard of
was
that
on a
one.
chair. He was in a tall chair, and he had a neon helmet, neon around a welder's helmet. He just sat there the whole time.
Was it like supposed to be high
Watching the
concept or something?
show. No,
Is
it
that
was
like
just
a
like it was
early
just a way,
Anton film?
somebody wanted to contribute, a friend. It was Neon Charlie. And so, he helped
Huh.
contribute stuff. And so, let's put
Wow,
him
the
in there.
Watcher.
The
I've never heard that
Watcher.
before.
Well, it's nothing new, right? It was in Fantastic Four. There was the Watcher.
Right, right.
And so it was nothing new there, but we just kind of borrowed that idea and said, yeah, okay. Tell you what, Charlie, you can't sing, you can't dance, you can't do anything. Just sit in this chair, wear your cool neon helmet. We'll call
That's
you the
funny.
Watcher. And
Wow.
it's sitting there. We had a TV newscaster who got killed. He was using a microphone describing the fighting, like as if it was a prize fight, and then the two people fighting get fed up and go over and kill him, and
Dude, this sounds wild.
premiered the giant meat grinder that was built by Dave Muscle.
Oh, that was at Shaper Court too?
Yeah, I had the
Wow.
giant meat grinder, and Dave Muscle was he's the one who built that, and he was also the Sultan of Sin. That was like one of the last. He only did that one or two more times. We had the Sultan of Sin, which was a sidekick for the Sultan of Sin, or excuse me, what did I just call him? Duke of Dogma.
Duke of Dogma.
Duke of Dogma. Right, he was sidekick to Cardinal Sin, and we decided after that, you know what? Maybe we can figure out something for you to do, but not on stage.
Oh, Muscle.
Yeah,
because he brought a lot presence.
No stage presence whatsoever. None. Even you'd think with a mask on, you don't have to have stage presence, but even acting with a mask on, it takes something, I guess, and he didn't have it. So
right. But he's very instrumental in the history of GWAR.
Yes, he became our sound effects guy, and he really was actually the sixth musician. People weren't even aware of him. People miss him now. People complain that the shows are drier and that they don't have that rich audio accompaniment of sound effects that was always there when Muscle was.
Oh, they don't do that anymore?
They haven't been able to afford, honestly. They haven't been able to afford to bring that person on and have them do it. I think there's been attempts to get soundmen, but soundmen don't have the time for that shit.
Right.
You got flies in your room?
Apparently, I have a mosquito flying around. I think I got him.
Well, you're welcome to kill him.
Yes.
Go slap away, because
I think I got him.
I don't want them in my house either.
No, I won't throw them over virtually to you.
Okay.
Let's skip over to Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Because I live in New York, and I know you recorded this album in New York.
Yep.
And what do you
Lower
remember about
Manhattan,
coming to New York? Yeah.
Ed Kramer, 16 channel, crapo fucking recording studio in a upstairs like studio kind of apartment thingy. I don't know what you call it. And from what I hear, if you got some good headphones, you can hear street noises.
That's what I keep hearing too. I've never really heard it. What song is that supposed to be?
I forgot what songs they're in, but there's claims that you can actually hear street noise coming through the audio, and that was a precursor to every musical, recorded experience I ever had with GWAR. It was like, do a run through. It was okay. Okay, I'm gonna do a second one. All right. Yeah, that was all right. Okay, I'm pretty warmed up now. I think I'm ready. I can let's do a safety. Let's really do one good this time. No, that's okay. We got it. Thank you, Don.
Right.
We're done.
Yeah.
Awesome. Same thing. Scum dogs. Think you ought to know this.
They're like, get the artist out of the studio or
Yep.
what?
Get him the fuck out of here as soon as we can. As soon as they have something usable, no one cares. Get out of here.
I'm sure everyone here knows this, but just to clarify, you were Techno Destructo on that album.
I was Techno Destructo, and the only thing that's really good about that song is the line about tits the size of Ethiopia. But
that is a good line.
But the rest of it is, I think, hot garbage,
Was it fun being Techno Destructo for a while?
Well, it was. The thing I didn't like was my ass hanging out. So I took over the costume from Hunter, and that costume was much better suited for him.
Right.
He had a tough, crazy looking face
that
fit that character. Remind you kind of a Gigi Allen, sort of character. I had a clean collegiate face. Too nice looking. It didn't fit that character well.
Yeah.
So
I kept better for Sleazy then, right?
There's a lot of things I didn't like. I modified the costume some. It's like, for instance, one of the things he had was he had a tube with the glove on it, and your hand didn't even reach inside the glove. I was like, what the fuck's going on? And he was okay with that. The hand was just supposed to flop around, and your arms down this tube. It's like, I'd like to be able to use my other hand inside this hockey glove. So I shortened it up so that I could, use that glove. And I quickly started replacing pieces, and I came up with this kind of, as I think Chuck Varga named it, the Klaus Nomi Techno Destructo, sort of, for a while there. And then that became known as Bozo Destructo.
Yes, so
and then I added the clown face, which, so
now you have a mask, so you can be meaner.
Still owes me. I started the crazy, scary clown trend.
Right? Slipknot, you listening?
I don't want to. It's weird. It's weird how after this character came out, just clowns went nuts. Clowns all over the goddamn place in rock bands. And at first I went with the famous, the green floating cloud hair. And I got rid of that real quick because that didn't survive blood and packing at all well, so I went with fins. I wanted that same shape, same Bozo Destructo shape, but made it into these spiny reptilian looking fins on my head. But the interesting thing about that whole incident was when Hunter came back, he wanted to be his old character. Right. My attitude was, sorry, you ditched us for over a year. We've been carrying this now. And I took over the character.
I got something you can run commentary over while you're telling this story.
I wish, and finally Dave came, there was a battle going back and forth, and I did a little bit, and then Hunter wanted to do it. And I wished, we'd come up with a solution. Or Dave come up with a solution. Oh, why don't there have two Techno Destructos who argue over who the real Techno Destructo is and fight out who has the right to kill GWAR?
I got some old footage of you guys fighting as Technos. So you can run commentary over.
This is, God, I don't know where this is.
I think I got this from the Raw GWAR tape, which apparently I have an original copy. I don't know if you can tell.
I think this is probably Rockets. So I've already started to transform into Bozo, kind of. It's the Klaus Nomi variation of Bozo Destructo.
You don't quite have the masher yet.
I'm dyeing the hair, and I'm using white grease paint and black around the eyes. And I had these pyro charges in my arm.
Really?
Yeah. So that helmet, had pyro in it. which we did for a little while, and then eventually abandoned because sometimes the pyro would go off at random, when it shouldn't, and that
Oh
was
no.
dangerous. That was dangerous. It could cause flash burns,
Mm.
and so Hunter had converted his costume to a giant. What is it? A wrench now at this point? So he's
Yeah, I think
converted to a
so.
wrench, and I still wanted to change my character more. And once I decided to become Bozo Destructo, I thought, well, what goes with a wrench? Why not go with another construction tool that would be cool and not too complicated? So I went with the hammer, the meat tenderizer,
Yeah.
and I stuck with that ever since. And in fact, when Matt McGuire decided he was going to be Sawboard Destructo, I told him, hey, let's stick with the theme. Why don't you be a saw? It's like,
Oh, that was your idea.
hammer, saw, standard construction tools. And but as I was saying before, I really wish we did, if we'd have just come up with a simple solution. Oh, well, you know what? You can be Techno Destructo, and I'll be something else Destructo. I'll be Bozo Destructo. I wish we'd have come up with that right away. It's like, why didn't I see that? It would have saved a lot of conflict, between the two of us, me and Hunter, which was completely unnecessary. It was just so unnecessary. I don't know why. Don't know why I didn't think of that at the time, but thankfully Dave started that ball rolling.
Oh, that was a Dave idea.
Yeah, it was a Dave idea. Let's go with two Techno Destructos, and then I changed it. Then I changed it to Bozo Destructo.
It is pretty funny seeing another Techno Destructo argue that he's the real one.
Yeah,
it was a good plot point for what it was.
Yeah, well, it was art imitating life.
Right. Yeah.
It was art imitating life, and Dave was he's great because he's always into absurdism. He loves absurdism. And
sure.
So that fit, it was right up his alley. Instead of thinking, oh, why don't you do something else, Don? And something completely different. No, he thought, the costume's made, why not? And so, yeah.
Well, we have to at least talk a little bit about Scumdogs of the Universe and Slaughterama. Now, that
Same
song...
story, 2 tracks, 2 run-throughs, get out of here.
Were you happy with it? Or do you think you could have done it better?
It was fine, but, like anything, a few more tries, maybe it could have been refined some, I don't know. But, yeah, that was typical. That was typical. And same thing happened, Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Same thing. Okay, yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Well, here's interesting. I want to know a little bit about the origins, because you used to have different characters back in the day in Slaughterama.
Oh, yeah, for a short, brief period, I guess so. Until a song came out, and we focused on essentially 3 types of people love to hate.
Right.
So this was the late 80s, early 90s, and the goth rock thing started to take hold, and so that became the art fag. And skinheads was a sort of a thing going on in the late 80s in the scene, and it was so stupid. You had Sharp, skinheads against racism, fighting racist skinheads. It's like, what? It's just white guys fighting other white guys. It was like, made no sense, but it was important to these guys. I like that orangish suit. That's
right. That's a kind of an in-between look for Sleazy.
Yeah, I had a sky blue, and I think I had an orange. Yeah, and so I don't even. Is there any lyrics to this?
I mean, you're saying something, but I don't know if you can really hear it.
That's all that is, right? That's really what it is. No, it hadn't even developed a song, I don't think.
It seemed like a very early incarnation.
Dave Brocky just came up with the chorus. Slaughterama, Slaughterama, it's a drama, right? And that was the we had guitar parts and Yeah, Slaughterama. It's a
Yeah,
drama.
Dewey wrote that, right? I
I
believe
guess so.
that's what I heard. I don't know.
Oh, the guitar lick?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And of course, Dave Brocky came up with the vote. God, that is hysterical, man. That just that hollow head getting beat on, and just the way it just wiggles
Yeah.
like that.
And then I think in '92 on the tour, you changed it to all political figures. So I kind of had this idea that this song was just going to develop over time,
Well,
like with each tour. Was that like an idea or
no, no.
not
I
really?
mean, we just once the look at that thing keeps falling off. Once the Scum Dogs
Solidified
album
it.
came out, it just became canonized and it kept it that way, which
Hmm.
is irritating, sort of, because you know, in a way, that shit's really passe, for the most part. Um, but whatever. That ship has sailed.
Hmm. Hmm.
I still do it.
Yeah.
If I did another live show, I'd be doing Slaughterama again and talking about skinheads, art fags, and hippies. You
You don't
know,
want to update it for the new, do you
well,
think
I
it
don't have any
deserves an
plans on
update?
going out on tour,
Well,
so
that's also true. Yeah.
yeah,
Have you ever actually met Eddie Munster?
yeah.
Yeah, and was he aware of the song?
Um, oh yeah, he showed up at an Austin show.
Oh, really?
So yeah, we did a show in Austin, Texas, and he was there, and he was backstage, and he was uh, yeah, he was pretty toasty. He
Uh-huh.
was real toasty, hanging out backstage, and we said, okay, yeah. So when we do Slaughterama, I'm going to say, what the fuck, what happened to Eddie Munster, and you'll come out and make an appearance on stage and introduce you to the audience.
Mhm.
And that'll be the joke, of course, because the answer is, you're looking at him. I can point to him, and he's
Yeah.
actually there. And you're looking at him.
Oh, wow.
And we can kill the other character afterwards. Well, I go, whatever happened to Eddie Munster? And then zip, he's by, and then I look, and he's already past me. I'm like
Oh,
looking
no.
backwards when he's already in front of me, and he's stage diving.
He
So,
stage dived. Oh,
yeah, he
that's
just
great.
ran straight out onto the stage. He was blitzed as hell, and he just runs straight on stage and stage dives, or I haven't even a chance to realize what had happened, and so I was like, oh, okay. And then I met him at I met him at a convention.
I was wondering, I figured you probably would have met him at a convention. I know you do
It's
those circuits.
if you got the I think an interview with him is in the season 1
Oh,
collection
really?
of videos. I can't remember which.
To be honest, I've never actually put any of these DVDs in yet because I watched them all online, so I
uh,
didn't have
yeah,
to, but
what's
I
the
wanted it
point?
for my collection.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a backup. It's
Yeah,
a
exactly.
backup, and it's got autograph. So
Yeah,
fuck with it.
exactly. I got a sleazy autograph on it. And the 3D glasses were in here a couple days ago. I don't know what happened to them. They're
Yeah.
here somewhere.
Yeah, the new one I'm putting out will have a 3D movie, Creeping Terror, in it. So one of the 12
Dun dun
episodes.
dun.
Yeah, one of the 12 episodes, the Creeping Terrors, you can see it down there in the lower corner. That will be a 3D episode, and I'll include 3D glasses with
Okay.
the package. What do you think of that cover? Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I love that gun. That's who is this in the background? I mean
So the
this
the
rock
first big
character.
dude, that is the character from Flesh Gordon.
Oh,
And
right.
then and
Okay.
then and then following from lower right, you've got one of the characters from Vampire Hookers. Then you got Rock and Roll Nightmare. Then you've got the Roberta Padon's big boobs from Carnal Madness. Then you've got way in the background on the
That
right.
tourist trap.
It's got no, it's got the crazy gut vampire from episode 10, Mystics of Bali. Then it's
Hmm.
got Tourist Trap. Yeah, it's got
Hmm.
you know well, what's his face? Kurt,
Sure.
Chuck Connors. Yeah. And then down below you got Supersonic Man, and you got one of the monks from Raw force, and then you've got Rampage, Turkish Rambo, and then you got one of the victims from Executioner, and then you got a Chinese zombie. And who cares? But I wanted to get every character. And then, yeah, the big one is the biggest character directly behind me is from Flesh Court. That's the
right. That makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, it's that giant thing that comes to life at the end and chases them all around. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited that Rock and Roll Nightmare is on here because you did that one with Balzac, right?
Yep. Yep. And he didn't want to do any more with me.
Yeah, it was enough for
The band thinks this is all real stupid. So, you know.
Do they? The Sleazy gone rogue?
Feeling. Yeah. I tried I tried to do the Roku channel, GWAR TV.
Yeah, I had that for a while.
Did you have a subscription? Was there?
Yeah.
Did you get a refund at all, or
I don't know. I never checked.
Yeah,
was I supposed to?
I refund money still from the old account.
Oh, don't worry about it.
But yeah, the band wasn't into that.
It was kind of complicated. I literally bought the Roku just so I could check out the GWAR channel. Then I never used it ever again.
The Roku?
Yeah, because it's like a thing. You got to get a physical thing and then plug it into your TV. And then it's like, what the hell?
Oh, I'm disappointed. I love Roku.
I
buy TVs.
I thought it was a good idea.
Pre-installed. A lot of those cheap
okay.
TVs now from Walmart, you know, the ones, those weird brands that you've never heard of. Own.
Probably one of the ones I had.
ONN, Own.
I don't remember.
And they have pre-installed Roku. I love them. I love the Roku system.
Well, that makes sense now. It seems like it should just be like an app like anything else, but maybe it is now.
Yeah.
This was a couple of years back.
I think they would probably do that.
I like the idea of a GWAR channel, but I don't know if I like Roku.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean?
We were gonna eventually get it onto Apple. We were gonna go on Amazon Fire. We were gonna try. We're almost about to do that. But and we had subscribers. We were making a little bit of money, and they ignored that. Like we had a meeting with some a few members. We had a meeting and we talked, and I was just like going, don't overthink this, guys. This is YouTube basically. Just use a cell phone and talk into it while you take a shit. GWAR fans will they'll be okay with that. Don't overthink it. Don't make it complicated. We don't want it to eat into all the other time that we have to spend on all the other GWAR things that are involved in GWAR. And
I loved that there was the archive, like an archive of old footage there. That
well,
was like
you did watch the old live shows, huh?
Oh yeah.
So that was worth it, just to watch all those old bootleg shows, right?
Right. Yeah, I want there to be like a GWAR. I think GWARchive is what it should be called.
Yeah.
It should be like the ultimate GWARchive because you got the best stuff over there in the
works, but it's all still on. All that stuff is still on
Vimeo.
Yeah. And we're trying to get a Hypereal TV. Hypereal TV Roku channel. I know you wouldn't like that, but maybe also on Amazon or something as well. But
right.
You'll be able to find those old bootlegs.
Okay, great.
GWAR and Hypereal, we have our, we're not as collaborative as we used to be, and if they really can't make an issue out of it because technically, I guess they don't really own that stuff.
Yeah, that is a question.
People who shot it, you need to bust them right on the spot. Those bootlegs.
Right, yeah, Hunter was telling me about how he used to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, we learned that trick from hanging out with Butthole Surfers.
Who have a documentary in the works as well.
They make money, and Gibby goes over to the closet and he pulls out a whole fucking giant box full of High 8, Super 8, and Mini DV cassette tapes.
Oops.
And
there it is.
He's like, yeah, we just wait until they finish filming the show, and then we go there and bust them and take the tape from them, and then we sell them to our fans. You
Right.
know, kind of like piratey Grateful Dead. You know,
Mm-hmm.
kind of pirate Grateful Dead thing. You know, it's like Grateful Dead has that community that's always
Yeah.
creating
The tape
content
creators.
of the band, but the band just goes and steals it from them because it's illegal. You know.
Yeah.
What Hunter would usually do is he'd bring a video camera and then he'd make a friend or two at the
Mm.
show and get them to run the camera and videotape the shows. And thank God he did that. You know, I found that so irritating. Once he was out, nobody was taping those shows. Tragic,
Right.
man. Just hundreds of GWAR shows lost into the ether.
For a
And
while, I
the
mean,
only
not
good
every
ones
show,
are the
but
Hypereal
I
recordings.
was gonna say you kind of picked up the mantle and doing like, well, not every show, but like
No,
one good
I
show
got
or
a bunch of good tours, significant
yeah.
tours represented on there. I got your,
Mm-hmm.
Violence Has Arrived era, Blood Drive, and War Party, and then I got your Beyond Hell, which has a great behind the scenes, footage of how that show is all put together. Getting on
Mm-hmm.
tour, doing the Electric Factory in Philadelphia.
I played there
Uh,
once. Yeah.
and then there's the show. Then there's electile dysfunction, and then there's lust in space.
I have a
So
question.
I'm proud of that fact because that was to me that's the golden age. Even though a lot of fans like the '90s when there was more stage stuff going on, I like the music of the 2000 era
Mm-hmm.
with Corey Smoot, Dave Brocky. You
Yeah, you
know,
like Metal Land a lot.
exactly.
Yeah.
The metal, as they call it. To me, that's what a perfect name for it is the metal. You were about to hold something up?
Yeah. Why is there 3 different War Party Live DVDs?
Let's see. The one on
This
the
is a nerd
right was the
question.
first version. The
This one? Yeah.
second version is pressed. So hold on to
Yeah.
that one because that's made in a real DVD
Gotcha.
printing.
Yeah.
So and then I re-released it, and there's a third edition.
Is there
Uh,
like some of them have different aspect ratios, right? Or something like that?
no, I think they're all
No?
4x3. Maybe did somebody
Okay.
stretch one? Try to make it 16 by 9
I don't
because you know how
remember.
that
Maybe it's
turns
a
out.
different. Yeah,
You can
I'll have
take
to
a
double
four by
check.
three and just set your format to 16 by 9. It stretches it, looks bad. I think I don't like a.
Although I guess I bought it at this show where they were videotaping the show for Fuse. I believe they killed Mistress Julia at that show.
Yeah. Okay.
That
So
was at
but that
Starland Ballroom.
wasn't a show that. That's not a
No,
that's not the show that's in the
that's
on the.
no. That's just my souvenir. I must have bought it that night.
Right, gotcha. And so you saved it in the same
Yeah.
case. Which hold them up. Which is the best cover?
Oh, let's see. I gotta say, this one's the best cover.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, it was massively frustrating to do stuff with GWAR. I'd sit there and if I sat there and I would make something, approval time would take forever, and like
Too much red tape, huh?
for instance, they insisted on hiring an artist to do the Beyond Hell Live DVD. And I knew I could have done the same thing myself with Elements and it would have been just as good. But I had to pay $600 out of pocket to have this guy do it, And by running approval by them, I realized, fuck it, man. So I almost never ran approval by them anymore. I just, and then I think that really pissed them off. And then after I did that for electile, I guess it was electile dysfunction.
It's in my GWAR cave back there.
Yeah, once I did that and fucked up I had a typo. If you read the back description.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that.
I don't know how
I don't
I
remember
missed
what it was.
that.
There's a lot of typos in GWAR. There's the typo in Scumdogs, the Black the Impaler. They and the reissue they forgot to list Executioner completely. The song. Did you
Yeah.
ever realize
So
that?
yeah. So for what?
So let me see if it's on the vinyl. Okay, it must be just on the CDs. The reissue of Scumdogs,
Yeah.
it just doesn't list the Executioner song at all.
Oh, weird. So they just
Yeah,
missed that. It's in
they
the it's
totally missed it.
not the song titles. It's missing from the song titles. Because if I
Yeah,
remember correctly, that's
I
on
mean
the
it's on
first,
there.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely on there. It's just
Is that
they.
the fourth song or sixth song, something like that?
I don't remember the number, but yeah, it's like,
Anyways,
how do you miss that? Oh man, that's a big fuck up.
yeah, I wonder if that made Chuck super pissed off as well. He never mentioned
Probably.
that, but Um, so yeah, dealing with GWAR it was always basically a bunch of stupid red tape.
Hmm.
And when I would do live shows, and so I had an opportunity to shoot would have been Dave's last show at the National,
Oh wow.
and they
And
shot
you're
it
like,
down. They did, Brad didn't like the idea.
hmm.
He didn't like the idea of Hypereal uh, doing these projects for some reason, which is stupid because you
No one else
know
is doing it,
no one else is doing it, and I was given the fucking lion's share.
and
You
it should
know,
be
a product. So
preserved.
what
I
I was doing,
mean,
I was doing a run of 1,000
mhm.
DVDs, and at
Oh
first
wow.
I gave them 75% of the initial run. 75%. There was 750 copies, and I kept 250 and sold them on my own.
Hmm.
Which of course sold much slower because not that many people, are going to come to me
Right.
when they can go to a
Get
GWAR
it at the
show and see
show.
it for
Yeah.
sale, like you just did. You saw a War Party, I guess, and so and then I finally I asked, can I have 50? Can I give you 50 and take 50? And we did the last two like that, and then
So I
after
guess
that,
I was gonna
it's just
ask.
it's just this weird sort of we don't like the kind of autonomy that allows this member to take, and so that's it.
Yeah.
I could have got that last one of Dave, and so I won't say who shot it down, not Dave,
Hmm.
somebody else,
Hmm.
uh,
Well, I
and
guess I was gonna ask if there was gonna be any more of those, but I guess you kind of answered that question.
Dave died. I have one I can put out. It's a boot from 2014. It might have been Miami early. I think my friend Buddha shot it, and I think I have that floating around. And then I have,
Yeah, there's not much good footage from that tour, the Battle Maximus tour.
is that what it
I think
was?
so. That was Dave's last tour, right? Yeah.
Okay. Then I should, you know,
Yeah, I saw it in New York.
I think that was floating around on Roku. I might
Oh,
have been.
okay.
It might have been. I might have uploaded it. I'm not sure, to the Roku
I
channel
don't
for a little while.
remember.
Anyways, this is getting a little trivial.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do here on the GWAR Pod.
All right, all right.
Well,
I just
let's
I
catch
wanted
up
to
on some
include how
comments.
many fans you got. Where's the
Uh, well, let's see. Let's see who's here. Let me. I've been kind of ignoring everybody because I've been enthralled with the conversation. Uh, Touring looks exhausting. Cancel
boring?
culture are pussies.
Yeah,
Um, Politicians want power and wealth and don't care about the propel.
propel, propel.
The propel.
Yeah,
It's GWAR propel. GWAR
yeah,
props.
yeah. Propel.
Uh, we're
I
talking
love
about
X Cops
love
too.
for the X
In some
Cops.
ways, I like the music better.
Do you think the X Cops will ever make a second album? Well, well,
I
That's more
I
of a Pete
guess
Lee thing, right?
it's possible. Seems how that you've got the same lead singer,
That's true.
and
Yeah,
every
because
member is
Casey Orr is back in the band. Yeah,
every member is still alive, right?
I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
He wrote like
he still
he
plays.
still plays, and he wrote basically a second X Cops album, and he just kind of recorded it on his own, I
I
believe.
remember we came up with Paddy Wagon Rape together. I
Okay.
didn't really. We were just getting stoned,
Yeah.
and he was like, he's twiddling away on his guitar. That's why that guy was so good,
Hmm.
because he'd be on guitar while taking a shit. Just
Hmm.
compelled. You know, that's a good musician. Somebody's just compelled to do this. You know,
Yeah.
and he's fretting away. You know, he didn't have it plugged in, which is a lot of times he didn't. He was just, you know, unplugged, and it was like, you know, asking me for ideas, and
Here's
Paddy
this.
Wagon Rape popped
Yeah.
into my head. And he took it from there. I didn't add another word. It was a Paddy. Yeah, as soon as he heard that, he said,
Wait,
Paddy Wagon Rape. I
did you
can't
have a
get
did
a
you have a
date.
character in the X Cops?
Did I?
Yeah.
They were going to make me lead singer. They
Really?
wanted me to be lead singer, and he wanted me to be a Canadian Mountie.
Well,
And
Dave
I
was a
wanted to
Canadian.
be a mirrored sunglass, North Carolina, classic North Carolina state trooper. You know, like Super
Hmm.
Troopers.
Hmm. Hmm.
I had the Super Trooper. I wanted that Super Trooper look before Super Trooper even the movie came out. I knew that look
That's funny.
because we'd run into them down there, and they're all about being just, you know, icy, icy, tall, narrow, and serious, you know, and that was the way I was going to wanted to be. But I'm not sure if my vocals would have worked,
Right.
honestly. And I felt like
Yeah, Casey's a great singer.
Casey's a good singer, and Tub Tucker, you know, was a good character, you know,
He looked like it. Yeah, he looked the part,
he looked the part, like, oh shit, this guy's pulling me over. I'm in
Yeah.
trouble now, you know. But that's what I wanted to create when I was going to be the lead singer. I was wanted to be this super.
Did you have a name?
No, I never even got to the point of having
Okay.
a name. Dave goes, no, I want you to be a Canadian Mountie. You're gonna be a Canadian Mountie. It'd be so funny. It's like, that's Dave, though. It's like
Yeah.
he his instinct to go towards absurdity and silliness and Monty Python, he'll go.
Canadian
He
Monty
wants to go there
Python.
to the detriment of a good concept. You know, to
Right.
the point where it's a detriment to the good concept. Because, you know, that would have, to me, I just feel like that badassery of that band would have been, it would have lost a lot of
Mhm.
badassery, shall we
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
by having
Yeah.
me as a Canadian Mountie, you know, looking like Dudley Do Right, you know. So yeah, I think it turned out the way it should have for the most
Here's a
part.
storyline idea. How about X-Cops arrest detestable characters and Sleazy is the defense attorney getting them off?
Arrest who? Oh, detestable
Detestable
characters.
characters.
Yeah, I like that.
Or Judge Sleazy pulling a Slaughterama style
Yeah,
sentencing.
sentencing
Yeah,
works. That's
that's
stuff we
good.
could have done for Roku, you know, but
Yeah.
the band just, you know, I didn't finish the story. What really
Oh,
irritated me
yeah.
is after I wanted that to, you know, I was trying to get them involved in that, and they overthought it and then did nothing. Then they went and did exactly the same thing when they did the live from Antarctica on their
The
YouTube channel.
Scumdogs?
No, the YouTube channel.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
What was it? Undead Live. That's what they called it. So for a while, we were live streaming
Hmm.
on, what was it, Friday nights. I hosted a couple episodes myself.
Oh, the pandemic show?
Yeah, I
Right. Yeah,
guess
yeah,
it
yeah,
was.
right.
It was. I thought it was called a live undead
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Mother.
you're right. You're right. Yeah,
And
I enjoyed that. That was great seeing
well,
GWAR get back to its like, there hasn't been enough video content.
right. They were putting in what I warned them about, which was dialogue, written dialogue, script, set,
Yeah.
you know,
I miss
production
the GWAR
value.
movies.
And unfortunately, man, you could do that for YouTube, and maybe you'll have some success, but
Hmm.
it's more about just matriculating out content day after day after day. It's like Stalin says, man, in YouTube, there's a quality to quantity. You know, there's the saying is quantity has a quality all its own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the way YouTube is, man. It's really hard to have something that gets 1 million views. And if you get, if you put a lot of work into some, you might only get 10,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
You put a ton of work into it, and you get 10,000 views, 20,000 views after a few months.
Right. Yeah, it takes some work.
And so you're better off just doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Regularly. And
No post-production.
The people who are big, they're doing it 3 times a day.
Yeah, I know.
They're doing live shows 2 or 3 times a week,
and then clips
they're doing
too.
shorts every day, multiple times a day. So,
well, that's a good time to announce the next show, which maybe you can ask me something fun to ask him. We got AJ Goods coming on, your buddy from the House of Masks.
Right.
Talk about YouTuber influencer, right?
Right. I named him the influencer.
I know. It caught on because I'm saying it.
I was always good at that. That was one of my special skills, is coming up for labels on people. And,
I don't know if he's still here, but he was here before.
There's a lot of people really good at that. Chuck was especially adept at that. He came up with the term bohab.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Dave Muscle said it first. Have you ever heard that story?
No, tell me that story.
Oh, okay. Where does bohab come from? It's a long story, kind of.
Well, that's up to you. Let me just tell you, we've been going for like...
I'm gonna do a little puff.
Okay, yeah.
Get into it. Grandpa gonna tell a story.
As long as you're good with staying here.
Gather around, gonna tell you how bohab.
We've been going for quite a while, so let me know when you want to wrap this up. But I'm having fun, so I could go all night with you.
I'm having fun too, so
okay, good.
Might go for 2 hours or more.
That sounds good to me.
So we used to play this game called Space Melee, which was a modified version of Melee, which is a board game, and you had the little figures. Hunter turned us on to this.
Hunter loves those little figure games.
Yeah. And so he would get us all into these games, and we'd start showing up over at this. We'd usually do it on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. We'd have these games on at the 801 Slave Pit. And he had a friend. He had a crazy collection of friends. One of the things that we don't understand, GWAR comes out of just as much the whole, it's in my documentary, but the aesthetic comes out of what was this group called the Mental Hygiene League.
Okay, I never heard of that.
The Mental Hygiene League was based out of Charlottesville primarily. That's where Chuck Varga. You play games with Hunter all the time, South Bay Pike? Yeah, he still loves it. So we would play these games, right? And like I said, the Mental Hygiene League, they were into this stuff, and they kind of got imported into GWAR, Hunter in particular. And so this one friend he had was called, his name was Bob. I forgot his last name. Unfortunately, he's dead now. But he would come over, and he was, a real character. He was one of these people that just, charisma, looks, all those dice rolls when you play D&D. And he was, twos. All just, he had the really bad gum to tooth ratio. They all looked like red and inflamed because you could tell he was that terrible hygiene, and his hair was all greasy, and it was just. Yeah,
I think I have heard this, but I want you to hear you.
Yeah, it was just this kind of guy that was rolling zeros all the time. He would go off about the most trivial shit for long periods of time. Like, you remember he'd come around and talk about Jiffy Lube. I got my car inspected at Jiffy Lube. They do a 14-point fluid check. You want to see? Look, I need to pull up the receipt and showing all the things they checked. Look at that. They checked my windshield wiper fluid and that fluid and that fluid. And it's like, okay, yeah, Bob. And you know, his favorite movie, one of his favorite movies, Solar Babies. Solar Babies. Oh, that's a great movie. I just showed that on 3D
Oh,
cinema
really?
recently. It's awful.
I only caught Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah. Anyways, he would come over, and so the nickname for him was Bob the Slob behind his back. Well, I didn't know that because they would call him Bob the Slob so often, and he comes over, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, Bob the Slob, what's happening?" You know, and you know, Hunter took me aside. He said, "Hey, uh, you know, he doesn't know that we call him that. Don't call him that to his face."
Who
You
said that?
know?
Hunter?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Hunter says that to me, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was just, I thought it was just a nickname that's kind of cruel, but you know how guys are, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know. But anyways, so later on, another Sunday afternoon, something like that, Dave Muscle at 801, there was windows line the street. And so you could sit up there, and we'd smoke or just sit by the window and look out onto the street because it was across the street from the Metro Rockets Club, which we played at
Right.
a lot.
Right. Okay.
And which was very convenient. It's great. You just walk across the
Yeah.
street. Didn't have
That's
to.
where Live from Antarctica was filmed?
Uh, no, it
No.
was Live from Antarctica was at the flood zone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, anyways, Dave Muscle's sitting up in this window, and he's smoking a cigarette, and he goes, because he heard what Hunter had told me, right? He goes, Boab, the Slowab, is on his way over to the door, and you know, if you've ever heard this, it's Ahab the Arab is a
Mm-hmm.
famous Ray Stevens song from the 70s. That's what he was referencing while trying to encode it. You know,
Yeah,
he
kind
made
of
it
like
into a
kind of a pig Latin kind of thing.
dog whistle, pig Latin thing.
Yeah.
And oh, Chuck heard that. He just seized on it. Chuck was always good for that. If he heard something that was coinable, then he would make it a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Stop trying to make Bohab a thing, Chuck. Well, he made it a thing.
He made it a
Yeah.
thing.
He made it a thing, and you know, even wrote songs about it, and it became basically our, you know, personal
Right. Yeah, he would mention that in
nickname
his
for our
songs
fans.
particularly.
You know,
Yeah.
even though, you know, maggots was something that GWAR was calling our fans long before a certain other band did. You
Is
know,
AJ Good still here? Does he know that? Uh-oh.
well, he's familiar with the song.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
if you listen to Dave Brocky interviews, he's calling people maggots. He was calling people maggots forever, you know. So, but that's GWAR. I remember a fan real early on, 80 when we were on just on tour, 87, 88, 89, somewhere in that late 80s, early part of the tour, and we were doing a decent club. I forgot where. It might have been Baltimore, maybe DC. And he's a smart guy and a big fan, kind of, or he knew, you know, he knew that this was something worth following. And he goes to me and he says, two of us, in fact, he was talking. I forgot who was with me. He says, "You guys are going to be a stepping stone band. You're going to be one of those pioneer bands that influence a lot of people, but you're not going to make any of the money that they will,
Mm.
you know." And he gave me cited examples of where this had happened in rock and roll history, you know. And damn if he didn't, I think, turn out to be spot on, you know,
Yeah.
because the mask wearing thing took off, the scary clown thing took off, the
Yeah, Mr.
blood
Bungle.
thing took off, you know, Green Jello. Not that Green Jello was doing their own thing,
Green
but
Jello kind of, yeah, they
but,
started technically before GWAR, actually.
but once they saw, I remember, you know, hey, Bill Manspeaker
It's
showed up
always
at the LA
developing.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, GWAR is one of those things that's kind of a Johnny Appleseed, you know. Uh, I have no doubt, and I have no doubt, ICP was influenced with their Fago, and all that,
Yeah.
and the clown themes, and um,
I think, yeah, ICP and GWAR are actually very close because, they also do the wrestling thing and
mhm,
and they make B movies. It's very
mhm.
similar.
Yeah, I think what made them more successful was that uh, they picked a better demo than we did to a degree, in that I see the niche they filled. A
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
poor white kids going to integrated schools in the Rust Belt area, and they didn't have a culture music of their own. Right? They
Mhm.
liked rap, but at the same time, I don't know, call it remnants of the Confederacy or something still in them. They needed something that was it was white, a white version of rap, and
It worked.
yeah, yeah, and
Plus,
and,
there's
and
only
white
2 of
kids
them. There's
know
probably
you're
less
not gonna
arguing.
you're not gonna intimidate black dudes with your size or athleticism. So best thing you can do is act like you're crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And so, thus ICP, fit that perfect niche, for these kids that were starved of their own identity while going to, I would say, heavily racially integrated schools around the Rust Belt, you know. Um,
Well, they have had GWAR play the Juggalo Fest, and Green Jelly has
more
played
than
too.
more than
More
once,
than once, yeah,
more
for
than
sure.
once we did the Juggalo Fest, and
The gathering of the Juggalos.
yeah, gathering of the Juggalos, and when I see all those moves, that's exactly what I think of when I think of a Juggalo. Man, they they fit the term so well. I hate to
Mhm.
say it, they are. Will there be another GWAR movie? Not a documentary, but the weird old movies like Skullhead Face and It's Sleazy. I just think would be cool. Well, they're stupid for not having done it, because at this point they could easily crowdfund it. Easily.
Right! I would, yes,
The equipment is there. The equipment is there. It's not like the old days where we had to rent these expensive packages. You've got they've got a Sony 4K body that you can swap out lenses for and get just ass kicking, you know, cinema,
yeah,
cinema esque, you know, picture film. It's
yeah,
not film, but you know what I mean.
yeah.
It's film.
Technology is much cheaper these days, yeah,
Oh,
for
it is.
sure.
It's way better. You can, and you get to review the footage on the spot. So in case you miss something, you can
Mhm.
redo it.
And
And
I
there's so
think
many reasons why it's better.
there was a bit of that in the live from Undead from Antarctica project, so that's kind of like a movie, you know, GWAR movie, the modern
Yeah,
equivalent of.
I still haven't watched it.
Oh, really?
No,
There's
I'm
some
afraid
good
to.
scenes in it. Yeah, if you string it all together in the right way, there's a GWAR movie in there.
You're talking about the one we shot in 2019?
Yeah,
That
all the
live show we
YouTube
streamed?
shows. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why. I just I couldn't bring myself to watch it.
Hmm.
I felt like I don't know, I was embarrassed kind of. I was not embarrassed of, I don't know.
It was their live stream show, not the Scumdogs live.
Okay, but the live stream that fucked up in the beginning, or it had to loop back and did the first like 5 minutes.
Oh
Is
no,
that
I
it?
mean they did that. I'm talking about the weekly show that they did.
Oh, okay. Then I'm
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
not the Halloween live stream.
yeah, the Halloween live stream was a
But
disaster.
you haven't watched that? I actually think it came together pretty well.
That's what people tell me,
Yeah.
and I still can't bring myself to watch
It's
it.
a lot more cinematic than Live from Antarctica, I would say. It
But
came together well.
it just bugged me not doing it in front of a live audience, and having multiple takes and trying to pass it off as live.
I mean, I don't know how successful that part was, but I enjoyed
No,
it for what
we
it was.
totally screwed the pooch.
No, but I kinda think a GWAR show could, I mean, yes, it has the
In the
live
middle
element is
of it, right?
exciting, but
It looped back to the
I don't know,
beginning.
I didn't see it, I don't think I
Oh, that's
saw
what
it
happened.
live. I
Yeah,
think I
when it
was
was live, it glitched. They had a fucking
oh,
whatever
man.
technical
I
glitch,
saw it when I came home because, I was out for Halloween in New York
and there
City.
was a lot of debate. Matt was of the school. It's like, no, man, let's just do it live, one take, and really do it live. And we fucked up, but it comes together okay.
Yeah. It
There's
was
my
cool.
letters. Those are my letters. Still
Yeah.
not paid for them.
Uh-oh. I've heard that from a few people.
Yeah. Yeah. GWAR is a entity of its own. It will consume and destroy everyone it comes into contact with.
Wow.
You can think you are living in the belly of the beast just fine, but those digestive juices will get to you.
Well, all right.
Eventually.
Let's rapid fire some topics here, and then we'll land this plane. But then maybe I'll have to get you back for a second one because I feel like I've only brushed the surface. Maybe we can do this once
You
a year.
have only brushed the surface.
I know. Yeah, I have a lot to ask. Let's see. Who were in the band were you closest to? Sounds like you and Hunter were close.
No.
No.
Hunter hated my guts. Hunter hated my guts. Probably still does to a degree. I never hated his guts, but I was of the type that was just going to be like, no, I disagree with your concept.
Mhm.
I think we should do what I say.
AJ's back in the house. The House of Masks is back.
Cool.
Yes, we were talking about you.
We bumped heads, and he was. I feel like I was one of the main reasons why I left for Detroit.
Oh yeah.
Once I showed up and had better technical fabrication skills than he did, right?
Mm.
Then he saw a rival, and I was the type who wasn't gonna just sit there and agree to whatever he was saying. Here's a little secret. The slave pit, well, the term slave, it's in my documentary because I've got one of his best friends, Guy Kurtz, saying this. It's not me. It's Guy Kurtz saying this. That Hunter was bragging about how he was turning all these people showing up at the slave pit into slaves. And we're gonna and I'll make the movie even bigger and better. So he visualized himself as being basically as the art.
Well, I've seen the Slave Revolt tour.
Huh?
I've seen the Slave Revolt tour.
Yeah, he pictured himself as the art director, once GWAR came along, then he wasn't the director anymore because it wasn't a movie, it was a band now, and so now he's kind of thrown in with everybody else, and I'm not the type who would shortchange Hunter at all because I think in a lot of ways he was a genius.
Sure.
And he deserves the credit. He set the aesthetic, the wonky, oversized aesthetic that would be GWAR, right?
And then the slaves took over.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Once you lay out the idea, it's like, wow, anyone could do this, right? I hate to say it, it's sort of like once you kind of the aesthetic is put out in front of you, it's very easy for other artists to go, oh, I see what's going on here. And then
speaking of, I want to showcase some of your work here.
Yeah. Awesome.
Right?
I got to say, this is a good story. This is a learning. And this involves Hunter to a degree, too. Hunter did the first GWAR.
You mean the one from like the 80s? The early 80s?
You got to figure it. It's in the Schaefer Court show.
Oops. Yeah, the Schaefer Court one.
The Schaefer Court show.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the GWAR on the left. Keep them up. Keep those two pictures up.
I was gonna find the original one first, and then I'll bring them back.
Okay. So the first GWAR was done by Hunter, and
back to this one again.
Yeah, it was different. I played him one time at a Rockets show. I was inside that thing, and you couldn't enter and exit the stage because the way the Rockets was laid out. So I stood in that costume for an hour waiting for the moment, right, when I could be able to walk out on stage as GWAR. I only did it one time, but it was grueling. We wedged a fan.
That's usually Scott, right?
Thing to blow air on me so I wouldn't pass out, in this 100-degree, sweaty, humid club in Richmond in summertime. Anyways, so that was the first GWAR. Then I did the second GWAR. a lot of help from Chuck and some from Liz Fairbairn. Okay. But that was the second GWAR there. And that's Scott Krall started playing him.
Yeah.
Scott Krall's a great person. He's a great monster. He's one of the,
he's so tall and lanky. And
yeah, that's what you want as an effects artist, is people built like that. People who are wiry, strong, and real tall. You know, 6'3", 6'4". You can put them in. You know, that's why you can't put. This is, I'm going off track, but this is why you do when you do if you've ever seen them do Iron Man, you know, the Marvel movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's that actor's name?
You mean
What's the Iron Man? What's his name? Because I'm a little.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's like 5'6", 5'7". If you put applique stuff on somebody who's only that tall, they suddenly, the proportions are all wrong. You know, they widen out, they get real thick. It doesn't look right, you know. So if you're going to have somebody in the Iron Man costume, you need a skinny guy, you know, that when you
we're talking about Robert Downey Jr.
They have room to grow and they don't lose proportion. They don't get all stubby looking. So Scott Krall, but on top of that, he was fearless. You know, I remember him doing a show in. We did a show. It's first he did GWAR, the final version. He did GWAR at a show at First Avenue, and we had no side stage
in Minneapolis.
So he put 2 fucking wheeled crates side by side and stood on them, got into the costume, stood on and stepped off. I was positive that whole situation was going to go south and he was going to tumble and fall, you know, like 5 feet, you know, off the side of the stage. Because I was convinced that once he put a little pressure down, that those things would shift and roll, and then he wouldn't make it. But, you know, and we talked about it, but he went for it. And he could have been badly injured for sure, but he went for it anyways because he was committed. You know, that's the way all of us were, especially in the early days, man. Getting injured all the time, just like pro wrestling. Like Matt McGuire's like had 7 concussions.
Yeah, he said that in the doc.
I never have. I'm lucky. The worst thing that ever happened to me, kicked in the balls by Danielle. It's a whole story in itself. And or getting
he would do that to Hunter every night.
A carrageenan blood, which is horrible. Horrible. Hit that and go down your trachea, big glop of it. Oh, feel like you're going to drown. Anyways, so yeah, that's the second GWAR. And then see the one to the right?
The GWARborg?
That was GWARborg. Mm-hmm. And that was a modification of the previous one, you can see.
Right.
Which really pissed me off because once he became GWARborg, he couldn't go back. And so we could never go back to original GWAR, you know. And GWAR is one of those, what should be is basically he's a continuous character, you know. That's too good a character to just have for one tour and then throw away. And GWARborg was part of that, I guess it would be, was it the Slave Revolt? Well, that's where the slaves, you have Robo Sleazy, and the slaves have the mind control devices. And Hunter is disguising himself, and then all of a sudden he pops out and reveals that he's been in control, and he brings out GWARborg.
Right.
Yeah. So Scott Krall did all these modifications, and you know, he changed that character forever. I had done the same thing to one of Hunter Jackson's old pieces.
He must have been furious.
Yeah, he was. He was furious, and then Scott did this to me, and so I got furious and realized, oh, now I understand why people don't like that, you know. But it was a complicated piece to, you know, have to do a new one of, and it was probably beyond his technical expertise. So it was easier for him to just modify that one, and you know, oh well, you know. It's okay because, you know,
there's me and Scott Krall.
Yeah, GWAR came back better than ever. You know, once we got him, we did him in 2000. You're the guy on the right, I take it.
Yeah, No, I'm the I'm the guy with no hair and the Michael Graves shirt, which we don't have to. I know you're a fan of.
Was that your girlfriend?
No, that was Scott's girl, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was a gallery that he came up to New York with Dave. It was a Dave Brocky gallery, like 2004.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Robert
Scott
Downey Jr.
Scott didn't give a shit. He was not going for anything punk rock or otherwise, man.
Hmm.
It's not. It was just himself.
That's cool. Yeah, what I mean, I is he still around? Have you heard from that guy in a
Well,
while?
he had a health issue
Hmm.
and hasn't been able to tour, and it debilitated him to a certain degree.
Hmm.
He's he's alive, he's functioning, but uh, yeah, he was a little bit had some kind of a debilitating condition from it. I won't go into details.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it was a health issue to have had that happen.
Yeah, loved Scott as Skullhead Face. Yeah, maybe we can end it on that one. I know. Yeah, we definitely have scratched the surface. We'll have to do this again, but I don't want to keep you all night. But I know this is
No, I
sort of
can
a
go for
bummer.
another hour.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Great.
or at least a while. Might as
Yeah.
well. Once I get into the mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then that's great. Let's see. Where are we? We are, oops, about here. Alice in Wonderland. So speaking of GWAR movies,
Mm-hmm.
but the one I'm most fascinated with is Skullhead Face. I
Yeah.
know that's sort of a bummer for everyone involved, but I think it's one of the best midnight movies that there ever was.
Ever.
Yeah, I feel
Well,
like
they have their charm no matter what. But
I
yeah, I
know.
can fill you all in about the
Yeah,
making of Skullhead
I
Face.
know it's. Yeah, I know it didn't come out
So
like
it was
everybody wanted.
concepted by basically me, Bob Gorman, and Chuck Varga.
Hmm.
We invented all the basic concepts: Gizmo Globin, Boss Glom, Glomco, Skullhead Face. That was sort of a Bobby improving in the shop. We had some half foam skull that somebody had sculpted. Somebody was hanging out with us. I forgot who. And he did this real rough, kind of foam skull. And Bobby put it on his head and started improving comedy bits, going, I'm skull,
Hmm.
head, face, just being, how redundant
Hmm.
names can be. And so then I started improvising and contributing and saying, and I'm his assistant Scully, and so we were going back and forth, and we wouldn't let that bit die, you know. And me and Chuck were going back and forth about Boss Glom and Glomco,
Glomco. Yeah, yeah.
because we were always talking about our relationship, like biz, in the music biz, how we were kind of looking for that in a way. We were looking for a Boss Glom, a Glomco.
Right.
We had no problem selling out as if they wanted to buy what we were selling, as I always like to say,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
people
yeah.
don't. But I mean, if
Which is
somebody throw $1 million check at us, hell
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You
Well,
know?
Sleazy took the money in the movie.
Right. So anyways, you know, uh that was like, I guess, the strongest concept that was in the shop at the time when time came around for doing another movie. And so we kept developing it. And then once we had a rough kind of story idea, the concepts in place, I wrote the first half of the movie, or actually, it was the first quarter or third, up until the point where they all get killed in
In the
the
boardroom.
boardroom.
Yeah, yeah.
And then from there, it's just basically Dave Brocky, and he takes
And
it
that's why it
the
went
rest
off the
of the way.
rails, huh?
Well, that's Dave's style.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Dave's style. When everybody expects him to zig, he's going to zag, and it's on principle, you know.
Mhm.
So, anyways, we write out the script. Scott Crawl insisted on adding all that corporate gobbledygook jargon during the boardroom scene, which kind of has grown on me. But the joke was supposed to be that we were going to have, there was a translation that was going to be real blunt, short, and brutal to go along with what that translating their gobbledygook, you know, right? And so, anyways, I remember confronting the director, who that's a whole nother story.
Was there a director?
Oh, let me get into that. But first, I have to finish off
with
how that was written. So yeah, there was those jokes weren't there, and I went to the director. So that's the whole point of why we put up with that goddamn gobbledygook in that corporate boardroom, is because we were supposed to. The joke was in the translation, and oh, well, we just didn't have time. It's like, what? It's like, it's fucking transcript. It's text. Don't tell me you couldn't have put up text. I refuse to believe that even in the 90s. That, and so anyways, so here's what happened with the director. Jump back to Phallus. I got affiliated with this guy, Blair Dobson, and he was going to direct Phallus. I ran into him at a show in Canada. And so it was my idea to bring his crew to do Phallus of Wonderland. And Blair Dobson had a mental breakdown and quit the first night. I guess, what did we do? For the most part, all our primary shooting was done in 9-10 days, maybe 2 weeks. Under 2 weeks. All that was shot. I think it was 9-10 days, feels like. Anyways, Blair Dobson freaks out. So second time around, I'm taking a different approach. I'm mostly concerned about technical issues, right? And so I start going and hanging out. I meet this guy, I get to know him, and thinking of owning our own equipment, possibly, or shooting, with the equipment we acquire ourselves, not bringing in a crew to do it, but having somebody, who can run the equipment, right? Possibly wanting to get ownership. And we ended up buying a lot of stuff. Anyways, that's another side part of the story I'll have to get to later.
Okay.
So anyways, we're talking about who's going to be director, all right? And I could see already what was coming. Dave Brockey's the master of conflict management. He's the Lord of Chaos. I've learned his ways. I know his ways, right? And so he knew that I would like to direct, right? But I knew that wouldn't be my best role. Because
his self-awareness is important.
You need an effects coordinator. That's what I was bringing to GWAR. Was I brought in that Fangoria, Cinefex approach to fabricating stuff. And it was my idea. I wanted to bring in animatronics. I ran into that guy, Nick Galatzine, in LA, and I got him enthusiastic about the project, and he seemed to think that he could, be able to do that. So anyways, I'm in the room and Dave is doing so who should direct? And, he knew that he wanted to direct. He knew that he probably figured that I would be a good one to direct, but politics is not my best skill.
Right.
Anyways, so he goes, who should direct? I think Hunter, right? And then he gives me the side eye. Like expecting me to go, what? I should be doing that. And I went, okay. And Dave went, I could see it, Dave went, oh, that didn't work. I was going to play them against each other and then have to go, well, I guess I'll have to step in and direct. Or I'll have to put someone else in control. I control in to direct. And that, in fact, is what he ended up kind of doing anyways. So I won't name her because I don't want to run her down. Oh, well, I guess you probably could figure it out by looking in the credits.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah.
You're going to have to buy it to find that out.
Well, she was inexperienced.
Right.
And all she had done was video work in sculpture, which I didn't understand at all. It's like, why the fuck do you have a video class? You can do video work while in the VCU sculpture department. And I did not get that at all. It was kind of like it's sort of like performance art. Well, no, performance art is performance art. Just because you videotape it doesn't make that sculpture. But anyways, but she had some equipment. She had some video equipment, and so she got to know Hunter, and Hunter brought her in to help him videotape things. She was helping out by videotaping things, but that was the extent of it. So while we're,
this was done on film, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. So the film equipment, that's another thing. So the cinematographer I got to know, and I made a big mistake politically. On the long drives that we went down to North Carolina to buy equipment for this production, like the lighting and the camera and whatnot. I think there was this old vintage film equipment dealer, and this guy that was our cinematographer was a genius. Kind of, is in that he was great with equipment. Like, he would sit there and pull this equipment apart and be able to fix it and work on it, So that camera that shot that thing was an old, I think a Panaflex. What it was a studio camera, like the kind when you shot on film in Hollywood, but we're shooting sitcoms. That film, that look is so crisp and good that you almost think it's video. It's not. It's it's the way you shoot Star Trek. Like you shoot Star Trek, Batman, something like that. This is the kind of camera. Super big body, rock solid rollers in it. So it has a super steady, because you don't realize it, but that's when that bounce is the cheaper the camera, the more flutter kind of you get. That's kind of we don't even realize that. It doesn't register subconsciously, but that's what gives you, that's part of what makes a cheap look. Anyways. So these cameras were huge, heavy, and it was a good thing that we were shooting it all, for the most part, inside of that nice flat-floored studio there. But while driving down to pick up this equipment, I kept falling asleep in the back seat. He was gay. And so the other person, the girl who would eventually end up being director, got along great with him. Right? They really hit it off, So by the time we had done, that he'd become involved in the project, he was much more attentive to her than me. But that's okay, because like I said, at this point, I was pulling back and want to focus on effects coordination, right? And so anyways, Dave's game was Hunter's the director, and then he didn't get the reaction he wanted, and so what he did was he brought in, what, I think you need some help. Here's Melanie, she'll be the director. She's inexperienced, but she didn't mind stepping up to the plate and taking charge. A little bit, I don't know, I'm gonna leave it at that. Inexperienced. So but Dave,
a lot of cooks.
Dave was directing from the back seat, and I would see it over her back, over her shoulder. He would go, she'd like, because she was girl powering it up, for somebody who had never worked with 35 millimeter cameras, never directed a production of any kind other than shooting stuff with Hunter, anyways. But that wasn't her fault. I mean, she was given the opportunity, I probably would have done the same fucking thing.
Right.
I've done the same fucking thing. And like, even though I don't deserve to be here, I'm gonna take this opportunity, because hell, it's a great opportunity. So, anyways, um, Hunter makes the crucial mistake of, as soon as he sees her starting to work on this thing, he seems to pull back. He doesn't get it. Also, the relationship we've developed with the cinematographer and that aspect of how we're going to be making this film. By the way, I budgeted the film. So I budgeted the whole film. I figured out where all the nickels and dimes are going to go. And I warned them, I said, this is going to go 20 over once I'd added everything up. And they said, no, you got to pull it down to under 100.
Who, Metal Blade?
Or Metal Blade won't green light it. And so I knew full well, that I was lying by omitting, or scaling back costs on that film. And sure enough, right towards the end, it went like 115, 120 over. But anyways, and they ended up, Metal Blade at that point, in for an inch, in for a mile. So they had to, they ponied up the rest. Anyways, so Hunter withdrew and focused all his time on the animation, right? The animation sequence he shows during the corporate boardroom scene, where
the GWAR babies and everything.
Yeah, GWAR babies. Yeah, he hand drew and inked all of that because he had experience doing cell animation. I did too. I had done cell animation.
Oh, cool.
But I wasn't thinking that way for this production. I wasn't. I thought that was a lot of work for a very.
It is a lot of work.
For a very
the GWAR babies, that was like such a classic bit, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Made famous by the Mike Dirks, Mike.
Did he do that music?
Yeah, he did the music. Yeah, clever Mike Dirks. Whenever we did we needed a goofy version of GWAR. It was always Mike Dirks was the go-to guy for all kinds of stuff.
Did he do the Sleazy theme?
Oh, yeah.
A wah guitar and everything?
I believe so. Anyway, so he's withdrawn. Dave's directing over the shoulder kind of Melanie Mandel. So, if Hunter had forgotten about that animation, stepped up and really taken charge of the direction, I think that film would have been a bit more cohesive.
Well, what is a bit more cohesive is the comic book.
I don't have one of those.
Oh, really? You should get one. It's pretty wonderful.
Yeah. That's the most panels I ever did in my whole life.
Yeah, that's yours right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was heavily influenced by a Vietnam comic book Marvel was doing called The Nam. And anyways, so my strategy was I'm gonna be the effects coordinator because that's a job that's is really more complicated than directing.
And look, I actually came across the original Skullhead face once.
That is a stage version.
Is it?
Stage version. So
I did see the actual head. I don't know. Maybe I didn't take a picture of it.
Original was much darker, but when we went with the live show version, when I painted them, I went with the colors that I wanted, which was the coloration that I visualized was that undead green, blue, kind of corpsey, fakey Halloween, maybe kind of corpsey look, whereas Nick Galazine painted the one that was in the movie, and he had a darker, more mummified, I guess you would say, look, right?
This was at a gallery in New York.
Yeah, but that's my sculpt. That's basically my design. We all contributed different variations of that, but
we can see
Nick Galazine's idea was to put an upper lip on him. I was going to have him just have bare upper teeth, and people criticized and said that's a bit too Mars Attacks like, which was I was like, we are pulling from that, aren't we? because Mars Attacks. We'd all looked at those cards.
Had that movie, that was around the time that movie came out, but I think
No,
maybe a
this
year or two
predates it,
later.
but with the cards, we
Yeah, of
were
course, the cards,
the
sure.
Alex Freed or whatever. That artist was definitely influential in GWAR because he was really gory.
Mm-hmm.
Alan, well, I don't know, remembers. He did Garbage Pail Kids. He did Wacky Packs. He did Dinosaur Attacks, which is really Jurassic Park. He's did two great movies. Really. That's Jurassic Park is a ripoff of Dinosaurs Attack. And anyways, and Mars Attacks. So yeah, we were totally aware of that stuff. But we were drawn from influences constantly.
Sure.
Some things real direct. You can look at Hunter Jackson. His Techno Destructo is Mean Machine from Judge Dredd comic. If you want to look him up,
Let's see.
Yeah, Mean Machine, Judge Dredd, or you go 82,000 Mean Machine.
Look him up.
But we were all doing that. We were all drawn from our favorite influences, and Japanese live action was a big part of that.
Sure.
All of us were into that. I was super into Ultraman and Johnny Sokko's Flying Robot, but Hunter took it to the next degree because he found these books and he was really getting into manga magazines. So yeah, there you have it. In fact, the early version of Techno, he had a red tail light.
I have that somewhere. Yeah.
Silver skull cap, and he was going to wear that. He was going to have that as part of his character, but he omitted that for some reason, and which is a good thing because then I think it would have been, too obvious. Maybe.
Let's see if I can pull that up while you're talking.
What, when he had that half silver face? Gee, I didn't even know he'd been photographed.
I think
it's in the rooftop picture, isn't it? So
it might be.
Yeah, go back to the rooftop picture of.
I think I have a better one.
But
let me double check. Let me pull up the slideshow I did for his show.
Yeah, but and I did the same thing. I did a variation of the gladiator helmet that the Hulk wore, and in the in the movie, you've seen that. It's a redo of a 1965 Jack Kirby comic, and I took my version from the Jack Kirby comic of 1965. But I made some changes.
Oh, we talking about Phallus?
No, I'm talking about excuse me. I'm talking about Beefcake the Mighty's helmet.
Oh, okay. My brother thought that maybe that was a Marvin the Martian thing.
Directly from that, I drew from Marvel, and we're ain't gonna lie, we did a lot of that.
Yeah, sure.
Great, good artists borrow, great artists steal. So I guess we just borrowed.
Is that it?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
They painted it gold for some reason. Oh, I know why. Because he was going to wear that as his character, Techno Destructo, and then he decided not to, and he gave it over. Because when we did live shows, he didn't wear it.
I never seen this in a show.
That Duke of Dogma character was wearing it, and that's why it got painted gold. So it was painted gold.
You know what's funny? Oh, that's Cardinal Sin, but...
Yeah, Cardinal Sin had a sidekick, Duke of Dogma, and we never knew what to do with Duke of Dogma. Finally, he just disappeared. Should bring Duke of Dogma back.
Yeah, that's for the next GWAR tour.
But I don't know what you do with him. The nuns were more interesting, the Kung Fu nuns. There we go. You got it.
There it is.
So that's what would happen it would be costume piece ideas that would kind of travel around on land on different people, and then concepts would be created to justify these sort of things that were happening, So
what happened with Skullhead?
He does a real early version. It's called the Sultan of Sin. Right. It's just a road cone painted, and
maybe that's
the later. And then Hunter Dave Muscle makes a more ornate version, like that one. He's the one who made those costumes. And Hunter Jackson incorporates the baby into the chest, and then that became became part of this motif of how it was all supposed to work. Like Cardinal Sin was baby powered. He needed the power of the purity of innocence to drive his machines. The purity of innocence, and which is kind of cool when you think about it, because it kind of predates the whole, this whole pedophile thing that was going to come up later in culture,
Right.
Conspiracy theories about child sacrifice going on and shit like that. It's weird. But the movie Skullhead Face, I never worked that hard in my life. That was just about the hardest. I'm guessing about 3 months. But the pre-production was going on for more months than that.
Oh yeah, I mean those costumes were huge. The flesh column,
the battles we had over concepting, and especially it was flesh column. And now I know what Hunter felt like to have an outsider come in and not and argue successfully against you. Mm-hmm. That was Nick Galatzine insisting that we should come up with this monkey bar thing for the flesh column, and we had 5 actors on this thing. We had all of these big, heavy arms, and then we had counterbalances that were supposed to go on the arms. And by that time, that thing had, it weighed 1,000 pounds, and I had arc welded these caster wheels. So we were planning on pushing this thing around. The thing was front heavy, and so the wheels were folding under because the caster welds started breaking. And I was high on muscle relaxants because I had injured my neck the night before, and I'd had to go to the doctor and had a prescription because I couldn't move. I had to help out, and I was incapable of even moving, lifting my head. Or
this is a small picture, but
that's the stage version. So that's
the stage one.
Me and Bob's version, and we had a much better idea. I went with a 1-man suit, and Bob came up with the brilliant 2 people inside the hand. We stole that idea from a Hunter Jackson live action Japanese. There was this Japanese live action suit where it was a hand. It was really a guy inside of a hand. It was a giant hand running around. We just howled. We thought that was the greatest. And then Bob cleverly thought, oh, well, let's lift that and make that the hands for the skull, flesh column.
Yeah.
Should have done that for the movie. Would have been way more dynamic and cool and fun. There was so much more action we could have created.
Oh, at least you got it on Beavis and Butthead.
And we wouldn't have killed 5 people, which we almost did. I swear to God. I was going to finish that story. So I'm on muscle relaxants, and Dave Brocky runs up to me, and he's frantic. He's got this look in his eyes. And I'm hardly registering things very well right now. And he's telling me something, and finally, yes, Lassie. What is it, Lassie? Woof, woof, woof. Grandpa's down in the what? Caster wheels? What? And I'd run over there, and then I look in, and I see the cracks, and slowly it's dawning on me what's at stake here. And this thing's about to collapse. It killed 5 people, if not 2 or 3, and maybe badly injure several more, a couple more. I don't know. But it was a precarious situation. And so we quickly realized, okay, let's get the people off. And we did. And the girl who was playing the Marilyn Monroe character, she said, nope, see ya. Fuck it. I'm out. I'm not getting back on that thing. Luckily, we found another girl who was also one of the models in the cute models with the cash.
Oh, okay.
The corporate scene. Yeah, she replaced that girl. Brave enough. But probably because she saw our solution. We just knocked the casters off, and we just put the whole rig on 4 blocks. So it was immobile.
Right. And it just kind of stood there.
That thing was just a big stupid waste of time because it was completely immobile. So we had to attack it and make it look
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we were.
It's pretty silly.
Yeah, it's real silly, and yeah, that's what happened. But that was
See if
Nick
we can pull it
Galaxy's
up.
idea, and he managed to sell it to the rest of the group enough that I finally knuckled under and went along with it. But almost killed 5 people. But yeah, you know that was a lot of fun. But my all-time favoriteest, funnest thing I ever worked on was uh, the Cardinal Sin video, and I did it with Hunter. And we
Ta-da!
coexisted. Yeah, we
Yeah,
coexisted.
we had
And
him run a commentary
we
over that video.
separated it pretty well. It was like I directed the exteriors, all the special effects, exteriors, and all that stuff, and he directed the interiors,
Hmm.
and
There's a great photo here
then I
somewhere.
edited it,
Oh,
and
you edited that one?
yeah, I edited that one, and I had an argument with him. I said, "Man, there's so much good footage here. If we could just have a 10 or 20, 30-second roll in before we start the song and have,
Mm-hmm.
a 10-second or 15-second denouement after the song, it'd be so much better because it forced us to squeeze way too much action in there." So yeah, there's Matt McGuire,
Mm-hmm.
right? These cameras, we bought these originally to use for Skullhead face, and then we decided to go 35, and so we already had those cameras. That was a Bolex that we bought from that same shop that we would
Yeah,
visit.
good thing it got some use, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it was used for that. We used all those old cameras, and uh, we got what was his name, Hal something or other to help be cinematographer, and that was a lot of fun. And I got to work with Hunter with Dave out of the mix.
Yeah, because they were on tour, right?
Yeah,
Or
so I
something,
want me to
or
get
no, they were doing X Cops.
yeah, I think they were doing X Cops,
Yeah, so
and
then
so we
they
would have
left
been
you
on
guys at the
tour with them, or at
studio.
least some of us would. And instead, we did this. We did this video during the 2 months, and I learned a lot from Phallus in Wonderland. When we did Gorgor in the city, we did that indoors.
Hmm.
Stupid. The whole point of how you get that, and I finally saw back behind the scenes of them doing new Ultraman, and that is you use exteriors, right? So you don't have to worry about, creating big, huge fake skylines or anything like that, you know. So you put it outdoors and use the real skyline, you know, and that's what you see in Cardinal Sin. That's the real sky,
Mm-hmm.
but it's on these risers that were 4 feet high. That gave us that gives you the worm's eye view that the Japanese always employ, the classic way you do kaiju films, right? So yeah, if you jump forward to where Cardinal Sin
Yeah, it's about to
shows
happen.
up, right? See, we're down there. We're shooting at we're shooting up because we don't have the ground on, we don't have the camera on the ground. You can't do it that way. We've got a raised set. And in fact, if you look to the left, you can see a bit of the slave pit poking up behind one
Yeah.
of the buildings. And it looks like one of the buildings.
Huh.
And yeah, Davis Bradley worked hard on that, building a lot of
Oh,
sets.
Davis Bradley. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, yeah, he's not doing much. But yeah,
Huh.
once they came back, we did some primary footage with them. But yeah, that's my pyro. I had the effects laid in at the editing shop. And man, that we did that in one take.
Hmm.
All those explosions were done in one take that were in those buildings, and they look damn good. The only thing that's the mistake is, and the shame is that 16 millimeter doesn't key for shit. That's why you get all that fuzzy, soft,
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the green screen.
It's a shame. If only, we had done that in the age of high def video, because
Mhm.
then, uh,
I
it
love the
looks
little
great.
puppets. That's kind of funny though.
Yeah, that was Hunter, and Hunter wanted to put in all this time of having those things animated. Like he was going to have them crawl up. He had a we uh, Mike Bonner spent all this time sculpting miniatures of those two
Mhm.
characters, and then in clay, and then we did a mold, and the mold was this RTV rubber that didn't kick correctly, so we only got two castings out of it, and those were used in the movie. But we I don't know, for some reason we just didn't have the time. Didn't have the time to do the single and still frame animation of those things crawling up, and that's what we had to go with. People laugh though every time they see that, because they can tell the characters
Yeah.
are just that. They're just dolls. They
It's
don't
funny
move.
though. I
You
mean, I don't
know.
know if it was intended to be, but it ended up being pretty funny.
Yeah,
There's a
I
quality
mean,
to
every
it.
time I ever watch that with people, they always laugh, especially when he pounds them. When he's
Mhm.
hanging from the Cardinal Sin's ear. Uh, it looks laughably cheap. So,
Yeah.
and that's kind of our aesthetic, but
Yeah. It's funny. I think that's Hunter's favorite thing that he ever did in GWAR too. 'Cause it was
now
like the
there you go.
closest to his original concept, you know?
No, I liked Hunter, and he was a peculiar character, because
Sure.
he would you know he would talk me up, and we'd hang out and smoke some doobs in his office, and you know make me feel like he liked me.
Uh-huh,
But
uh-huh.
he did. I don't think he did.
Well, you did
So
you if you
it
wanna
was
skip
like, yeah. He always was like, couldn't you? He wasn't sure who he hated more, me or Dave.
oh, no.
It went back and forth. I'm sure.
Yeah. If we wanna skip forward, you did get to direct a video for GWAR eventually though, right?
I
Immortal
did more than
Corruptor?
one. I did the two
More than
best
one?
ones. I did Sick of You.
Oh, yeah?
I did Sick of You and Immortal Corruption.
Classic.
And Sick of You could have been that much better,
Let's see
but
if I get in trouble for playing this one, you think? You think
that
Metal
was
Blade cares?
that possum you just saw was one we were rehabbing. I brought it from our
Huh.
house, but I used this big old possum because I passed for a fucking nasty rat. Is what it was supposed to look like.
This really does look like a compound in Antarctica.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Uh, we had all these sets laying around from Phallus in Wonderland, and they just weren't used.
Mm.
And like I'm sitting here thinking, look, guys, we spent all this money trying to make shit from scratch, and you're like, you've got all this stuff already ready to go. All you
Yeah.
need to do is fucking set it and light it in the right way and film it in interesting ways and angles. And yeah, we shot it with Sony cameras and XL1s. High def, not high def though. It was standard def, but it was mini DV.
Mm.
It was just good mini DV cameras.
Hey, if
And
you set up the shot, you know, it looks good.
and then we had a little bit of a film effect put on. I had a guy who was a friend of the wife, and he knew how to lay some film effect on it. Something that I could have done now in Final Cut Pro, because now I'm really adept at doing that. Like you can, it's amazing what you can do in Final Cut afterwards. You can totally darken everything down, change the color, make it look way more cinematic. It's like, that's the same video? It looks like shit when you see it raw video,
Sure.
but this was like, it was like how to make a great video for nothing. Did they ask me to direct another?
They could use some music videos right
I
now.
must be really bad at politics. Must be
Oh
bad at
man.
politics.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. When's the last time you made something for GWAR? And did you work on anything recently?
last thing, no, I haven't worked on anything with him recently, and I don't expect myself to be doing anything in any more fabrication. Wish him all the luck in the world. I've done enough of that, and it doesn't pay well. So I figure if I'm gonna fucking get fast food wages, I might as well get fast food wages doing my own thing. You know,
Right.
I gotta stay at home. It's nice. You know, just stay at home. I live like 15 miles away on South Side. I gotta go through 2 tolls and all this. Put in, $10 of gas or more.
Yeah, gas ain't cheap.
Just every day, just to work there, and then they don't pay shit. So yeah, if I'm gonna be the fast food wage guy, I might as well just do my own thing, and so that's what I do. The last thing I did of note, I worked heavily with Matt and redesigning the characters. The Blothar character, when he went from Papa Smurf to the later incarnation.
Yeah, he got rid of that helmet and has that nasty face now.
Yeah, it had the hog face. That was
Did you see the bobblehead?
Matt sculpt, but I came up with the kind of like biker S&M.
Let's see if I can grab
look.
You can't see my GWAR cave. Have you seen the bobblehead?
Oh yeah.
Oh look, shit.
I guess just a show. Well, I'm not full of shit.
Yeah.
here's a
falling apart.
Here's a preliminary sketch, right? That I did.
That's
but I had a visored helmet, and I was referencing, I figured basically a cross between Vikings, bikers, and gay guys, It's kind of incorporate those aspects into one. And then
a little bit of Judas Priest,
I guess. Yeah. And then let's see, where else? Oh yeah. And so, the redesign of Ballsack, which I don't think he needed, but this is what happens when you keep over making things fancy. I'm a big fan of staying simple, quitting at the point where it becomes iconic, and then you got it right and stay there. But there was the insistence to do it.
I think Ballsack was perfect in 1991.
Well, there you go. There's three different points of view.
But it's still great. I mean, just the bear trap face in general is just always going to be a winner.
Yeah, that was a Hunter Jackson design, and that was one of the first Scumdog costumes ever made. In fact, it made its premiere in 1984 at a Dragon Con costume.
Right. Yeah, he was talking. Yeah, because he said it was originally it was going to be a pet for one of the characters in his movie.
Yeah, it worked out something like that, and I guess Hunter was sort of in his techno costume on roller skates.
Something like that, yeah.
And yeah, I saw that costume. The first time I saw that costume was at a Halloween convention. That's when I really was blown away by Hunter.
That was before you.
I saw his 2 Halloween costumes he did, and the one that blew me away even more was he took 1/32 slot car track and he louvered them together and ran red lacing through them, tied them together, and made a samurai costume. And it passed the eye test at a certain distance, like whoa, like a samurai costume. And then you look at it, it's like, oh my God, this guy's a found art genius.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So he's taking slot car track and he's drilling holes in them and then lacing them together and makes a samurai costume out of it. But that techno costume premiered. That Ballsack costume, helmet, premiered at in 1984 at Dragon Con.
That's I can always age myself with GWAR because I was born in 1984, so I was born with GWAR.
Well, she's saying, "Oh, I was 3 years old."
Yeah.
She was a headbanging GWAR fan at age 3.
Hell yeah. Here's a question: have you listened to the new album? And
only a little bit. Only a little bit. I haven't given it a fair listen.
Dude, I don't. Yeah, it's. I'm sure for you, it's hard to remove yourself from it
Yeah.
and view it objectively. But
Hmm.
I actually think this might be the best GWAR album. Period.
Period.
It may not be my favorite GWAR album because
Oh
there's
my
a lot of
gosh.
nostalgia factor in that. But if I was to give somebody a kid like a GWAR album to listen to now, I think it would be
Uh-huh.
that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
AJ would beg to differ.
Well, we'll talk about that at in the next
You
episode,
know,
AJ, if you're still here.
and I can't be objective because for some reason I'm like I got you know it too much emotionally invested,
Right.
and I heard one track I didn't like at all, and
It grows on you. Every
okay,
time I hear something new of GWAR, I'm like, I don't
I
know.
don't know. Well, I certainly do.
When the shock wears off, though, I'm like,
They
holy shit, that's actually pretty brilliant.
they keep changing. They keep
That's what
changing.
GWAR does, though, you know?
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like it's the same.
It's three. It's three bands. It used to be three. Now it's four.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah,
it's the Scum Dogs era. It's the early '90s. It's the late '90s. You
yeah,
know, the We Kill Everything era.
yeah.
It's the
Then the Corey
2000
Smoot.
metal era.
Yep.
Corey Smoot, Dave Rocky, and now it's the you know Pustulus Maximus Blothar
Yeah.
era.
But I feel like it may sound different, which is, what GWAR albums always do, but it's the same ingredients that made something like America Must Be Destroyed and This Toilet Earth to me, but just start a little bit differently,
Hmm.
because it does have like Dirks and Bishop and Brad are all there, and
Well, with Brad drumming, you're going to have a consistent
there you go.
element
Yeah,
there, and with Dirk's guitars, you're going to have a
yeah.
certain continuous element running through it.
Have you read the new comic book? The
No,
Duoverse
I
of
have not.
Absurdity. Oh,
What's it called again?
the Duoverse of Absurdity.
Okay.
And it goes right with the album and the latest stage show.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
then I
how
was
is
going to
it?
ask you how you felt about Sleazy's representation in it, but I guess you can't tell me that.
Oh, why is it negative?
No, no, but you're only represented in the alternate universe square,
Right. I'm the
which is like
short.
the yeah.
Yeah, they had me record vocals for
Oh
that.
yeah, I forgot they were coming out with that. See, I got all this pre-order stuff, but it's all trickling in one item at a time,
Well,
and that one hasn't come yet.
I think it's kind of funny they would do an alternate universe thing because
Yeah, I
it's
mean
such an
you are
overdone thing in comics.
you're the president,
Right.
so there you go. You made it to the White House
Yeah.
in an alternate universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I'm like a Danny DeVito meets
kind
Sleazy
of.
P.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on reading this because,
Oh, what do
it's
you think?
definitely I think it's great. I mean, it goes with the new album story and the tour story. It's all very synchronicity.
Okay. Okay. So it all
Um,
supports each other, huh?
but it's all very relevant to like the last few years as well.
Hmm.
So, uh,
You mean what's happened with the COVID and politics and things like that?
basically, yeah, like in the alternate universe, GWAR is like a redneck like country band,
Hmm.
red state sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
So
Hmm.
it's interesting. I mean, they don't go too far with that, I guess, but and then they all the statues in Richmond come to life. The old like Civil War statues, they have to fight them and stuff like that.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. Yeah. That was a painful summer for me for a lot of reasons, man. Uh, I am no Confederate lover. My family's came from the West Coast and moved east, and um, but those pieces were done by accomplished French sculptors. They're cast bronze. It was really malicious because they didn't even save them. I think they ended up melting them down. Just
Is that
quietly.
what they did?
That was the intention all along. You know. But my attitude was no, don't take them down. That's history. Put even a bigger statue up that's for Black civil rights
Hmm.
or the commemorating the slavery or God, I'd love to do a Frederick Douglass, man. That'd be
Well,
so
there was a
cool.
petition for an odorist. I don't think they're
Yeah.
gonna
Oh,
do
yeah.
that.
Right. That was talk about that as if that was going to happen.
Yeah, of
But
course not. But it's fun to
you
you
know,
know.
you could have
GWAR
done
is one of the
the
biggest things that come
Massachusetts
out of
56th
Richmond.
monument to the Massachusetts 56th or whatever. The ones that are in that movie Glory. You know. Um,
Wasn't Matthew Broderick in that?
yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow, I
It's
think
a
I
pretty
watched
good
that in high
solo
school.
movie.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyways, my feeling is like, God damn, that's history. You know.
Well, with
One,
all of history,
recontextualize it, fine, but don't
right?
destroy it because Richmond doesn't have that much going for it, anyways. And those pieces were magnificent. That's nobody can do statuary anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, I know. I know some people who do public statuary, and yeah, I don't want to go over the internet.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've seen the results of modern metal statuary, and it's generally horrible nowadays. No one knows how to do it. You can't just freeze dry somebody,
In carbonite,
make it
yeah.
photorealistic like carbamite or a life casting. It still won't look good. It's not about realism
Well,
doing
let's
statuary. It's something else, and it's a lost art. It's a lost
yeah.
art. Anyways, little diatribe there, but
Right, yeah. Well, we can start to land this plane. Let's see some random questions. If anyone has any lasting questions for Sleazy, get them in.
how come I don't see anything?
People haven't been saying much. I think they're just enthralled by our conversation.
How many people are
Um,
here?
oh, like 10 or so.
You're blowing up.
Yeah, I know, I
I'm gonna
know.
name you
Just
influencer number
just
two.
see if you were the fourth show after AJ Good, maybe, But they're because of him, they're gonna
Well,
discover
don't
it, so
worry. I'm gonna post the link or
great.
mention this, and I'll send a bunch of people over here
Oh, thank
on
you.
my two channels. And I should have announced it on there, but
I tried to
I
get in
just
your
got
chat room, but
I
it
just
goes
got
too
my
quick.
unbanning today, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
forgot about that. I should have done that, but
I
I'll
is
make an
there
announcement.
is there any non-GWAR work that you've done that you're proud of that we should know about?
Um, It's I mean, a lot of little weird things.
I like little weird things.
I did, you know, um, I did statuary for or pieces for the Science Museum. So,
Oh,
like,
cool.
I did a bass eating another fish. It was sculpted, and then there was giant. Um, these morning glory flowers that were made oversized fiberglass I made. Uh, Unfortunately, effects work on movies that never went anywhere.
Mm.
I wonder if I can find some of that.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Pull up a picture.
Sure. And here, I'll ask another question while you're searching.
Find it or not.
Do you have any other
It'll distract from what you got going on here. So I won't bother. But
next time.
next time. The movie. It was a movie. It was kind of a cool story. It was like kind of zombie Boy Scouts, a troop of zombie Boy Scouts that wandered off and became cannibalistic, and then they attack other Boy Scouts.
And never got finished.
Never got even started.
Oh, okay.
Just shot a nice little trailer. Teaser trailer
Okay.
was done, and I did the effects for it. And,
Is that on YouTube or?
Maybe I might be able to find it on YouTube.
What was it
What would
called?
it be called? Oh God, I can't remember the name.
Oh man.
What was it called? Move on. Let's go on.
Yeah.
We got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's see.
Let's get to other things.
How thrilling
Blood
was
Scouts.
Blood Scouts.
Blood Scouts.
Let's look it up.
See if you can find it real quick. Just type it in YouTube and see if a Blood Scout trailer. Put Blood Scout trailer in.
Blood
Maybe.
Scouts trailer. Was this thrilling while I'm looking for it?
Who is that?
That's Joe Bob.
Oh, Joe Bob. Okay. Ah, awesome. I got in there with him. I didn't even realize
I guess
that.
not.
Yeah, I kind of forgot, man.
He's not one of your, like, I guess, who was your movie hosting heroes?
Count Gordeval. He was my, the one I grew up with. And he did it all. He was one of those classic, VHF syndicated do-it-alls. So he was Bozo in the morning, Captain 20 in the afternoon, and then he was Count Gordeval at night. So he was a big part of my childhood. He'd be pretty much hosting everything I watched.
I think I found it. Let's see.
Awesome.
Let's check it out.
Yeah,
this is
it. Yeah, you only see a little bit of the character I designed.
It's not great quality, but at least it's
something. He shot it on standard def.
Yeah, this is like
one of those Panasonics that everybody was shooting film
This
with.
upload is 240p.
Oh, fuck.
That's terrible. It's pretty terrible.
But there it is. Yeah. Some places will never forget.
What happened on that mountain?
This is great.
Yeah,
it's great having seen it again because it's been so long.
Yeah, I didn't know about this, so it's good to get it out there.
Thank God that YouTube, is this repository.
Yeah, right.
Crap. Never forget.
Maybe they can kickstart it.
Now let's do it. I got my own ideas for movies. I don't want to do Blood Scouts.
Yeah.
I'll do a sleazy movie.
Yeah, Young Sleazy. You can spell it Y-U-N-G.
Play that? No, I need to play it.
Yeah.
Be old sleazy.
Oh, I have a question. So do you have any plans on making any more comic books projects?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I had one in the works, and I felt like, based on how much I projected the cost to be and how much I thought I could raise at the time, I thought I'm going to put this off until I got a bigger presence. Because I really am in love with the project, and I think the zombie only shows up at the very end. Unfortunately, it's just one quick glimpse of him. Anyways, but hold on, it's a great zombie.
Yeah. We're anticipating it.
So I had this idea for a sci-fi, an homage to the 90s, a sci-fi story. It's basically Earth versus flying saucers, rednecks versus flying saucers. There it is.
That was
I didn't get much of him.
Oh man, you got like one frame.
Yeah, I was like, I think there's a little.
Oh, there it is.
Back. And let's see, where is he? There's the girl. There's two of them. That's him. It's this one right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you got a good glimpse of him there.
That's fun.
So that was my, one of the few times I did foam latex appliance, full on cinema style effects, on my own. Never went anywhere. Oh well.
Oh well. Well, let's promote yourself.
Pale Fest.
This is something that's coming up for you?
Yeah, here's something else that might be coming up for me too.
And the House of Masks is going to be here?
Jury duty.
Dude, me too. I got a call next Friday.
Hit with jury duty all at the same time. AJ said he got one too.
Oh,
and he's going to ignore it. I'm fucking 62. I never had jury duty before.
Well, sometimes they don't always call you, so that's keep your fingers crossed.
I mean,
unless you want to, if you want to have that experience.
If I look like I'm probably kind of on the smart side and not easily, cudgeled, they might say strike me. I was like, this guy might be a problem. We might get a jury with him.
Last time I went in, I had blue hair and they didn't select me. So if you want to dye your hair blue,
I was thinking of going in all rednecky looking and go, Is he an N-word? Because if he is, he's guilty. I'll tell you that right now.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
Process. See if that would work.
Yeah, yeah. There's always something that's kind of like, well, I don't know. I feel like I'm already made my decision. So that's how I got out of it
you might
last
have a
time.
prosecutor who's trying to convict a black person. So
Yeah,
I want that guy.
yeah.
He's the one I want in my jury. It's
All
like,
right, here
oh, no.
we'll close it on some random questions, some rapid fire. What's your favorite Phantom of the Opera?
My favorite Phantom of the Opera?
Yes.
Phantom of the Paradise.
That's a very common answer. That's another whole fascination I have is Phantom
I've
of
been
the
trying
Opera
to
stuff.
run it on 3D cinema, and for some reason our versions just haven't worked.
Oh, that sucks. Did you ever find your bong?
Well, it was never fully lost. It was, although it did finally disappear somewhere back in time. But that comes from the fact that there was only, I made that bomb.
Really?
It was the fabricator's bomb, right? It was made the way fabricators made it. I used PVC and brass pipes and things like that, and screw, made our own.
Oh, here's an idea
whatever.
for jury duty. Go as Sleazy.
What do you mean?
For jury duty, show up as Sleazy.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that
that's
hair's
the
gonna
idea.
get through the metal detectors and.
So yeah, the story on that bong is that they would borrow it, and Pete, especially they would smoke in the rehearsal room, but then they would lock the door, and they lock the door, and we'd want to smoke, and then where's the damn bong? And we go and check, and if you didn't get in there before, say whatever it was, 11 o'clock, and it was in, and you couldn't get it, you lost the, and that was really irritating. So then I started hiding the bong, from them, so that we wouldn't have them, because they would come into our studio and steal it from us. So basically, we're stealing back and forth with each other. But the difference was, it's like they could always access it from us, but we couldn't access it necessarily.
Couldn't you just have two bongs?
That would have been a better idea. Damn it, they're musicians. They should buy one. Right? We're fabricators. We made one, out of necessity. We didn't have a lot of money, probably because we were always spending it on living and working on GWAR. But anyways, yes. So that's where that whole story comes. Don's bong is gone. They'd be looking for it. They couldn't find it, and they'd be crying.
Oh, so they couldn't find your bong?
Yes. They could not find our bong because, like
funny.
I said, I had to hide it because they might end up locked in the rehearsal studio.
So let's end it on this.
Yeah.
Since I'm from New York, I want to hear a good classic GWAR in New York story. I know you've played the Pyramid Club and the Limelight. There's got to be something great in there.
I got, stories like New York. There's a lot of them, really. But
well, I mean, I could stay here all night.
In my head right now, it's just crazy. And this is after Pete Lee was in the band, right? And so Pete Lee and I think another member of maybe the Skate Nigs or something was with us. And this is when we were driving around on the old school bus, right?
Oh, Pete was in the school bus days too?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And
bus lasted a while, huh?
Yeah, and man, and school bus was like, Magic Bus, the Who song. It was a magic bus because we never had trouble finding parking.
Wow, even in New York?
Sense. This is New York.
Yeah.
Lower Manhattan, and for some reason there'd be actually 3 car spaces.
Now the tour buses just drop you off and then they park in New Jersey.
You're right. Good luck. Generally getting 1 car somewhere. Usually you end up paying, $10 a minute parking.
Yeah.
But we'd go to a show and it just seemed like there's we were playing at the Bowery, or you'd be parking your CBGBs, and I know it was low rent, and that's part of the reason why. But what we play, the Limelight, the Pyramid, the
Ritz, I think.
The Ritz, maybe? Yes. New York was always very fickle about us. Ritz,
New
York, we blew up in New York a lot earlier than just about any place else. And then we contracted in New York just faster than just about anybody else.
Yeah.
The Rust Belt kept us alive during the lean years. You could always count on the Rust Belt to fucking. Could always still do 1,000-seaters plus in the Rust Belt, consistently. But we did the Palladium in LA one year, 3,100, and then next year, like, it's like we weren't worthy of the Palladium the next time.
Yeah, that was the show you did with Green Jelly.
I felt like that Palladium show was not one of our best.
Really? Well,
I just don't remember it being one of our best. But anyway,
I have an anecdote about that you might not know about.
I got to finish my story.
Yeah, please do.
New York story. So, anyways, we pull up to this club. Might have been Bowery area, something like it was lower East End, New York, Manhattan, and so we're in front of the club, and for some reason, at the time, everybody was just not me because I didn't like the shit, but into whippets. People were doing whippets, man. They had these canisters, and they would, since you could buy them, you could buy a whole box full of these fucking whippet canisters, right? Because they're for making drinks, I believe, right? I think it's used.
I don't know. I've never done it.
Bars have them, and that's why you can get them. But damn well, the reason why everybody was buying all these whippet, I'm sure the people selling them know. This fucking flea bag weirdo comes in, buys 2 boxes of these whippet nitrous oxide canisters, and so anyways, Pete Lee, Dewey Rao, I think, and I forgot who. No,
didn't Pete? Pete replaced
Pete Lee replaced him, but a couple other characters, and they were just doing whippets, man. They were just sitting in that bus all fucking day doing these canister whippets. And so at one point, the floor was awash with used whippet canisters, right? So there's like beer bottles, it reeks of pot. There's whippet canisters just strewn all across the floor of the bus. And this cop, he looks like he means business. He taps on the window, and we stupidly kind of open the door. We should have leaned our head out and talked to him, but we open it, and he walks up, steps up on the steps, and then he looks over inside the place, and he just looks around. He's just get the fuck out of here. And I was like terrified. I thought for sure, he was going to arrest some people, but he was just the way he just the dismissive, it's like this New York, this is what I see all the time, it's like this nutty collection of druggies on a giant,
and it had probably all the graffiti on it, right? Yeah.
Graffiti covered school bus, right? Another rock band, whatever. And then that bus was involved in another incident. It was just unbelievable. So this guy, Randy, who we would have, sometimes he would help out. He would go on tour with us. He also helped out on the movie Skullhead Face. But for some reason, he was driving the school bus. And if you drive a school bus, because I've done it, I clipped a car by accident. Other people clipped other things. But he pulls out of a gas station, and you got to really make sure your back axle is clear of whatever it is you're turning around. Because, those school buses, they have a lot of rear overhang. You know how they look? They're actually, they're like the 2 wheels, the set of 4 wheels is more like a short truck, and then the back end hangs way off. Anyways, so he doesn't pay attention and to that, and as he turns, we've just come out, I believe, the Holland Tunnel.
Okay, yeah.
Is it the Holland Tunnel or the Lincoln Tunnel? One of those two. Because after you clear the toll or whatever, there's a whole bunch of gas stations. Well, it's rush hour. We're leaving for the after having done a show. We're leaving New York. He pulls out. He clips a fucking pole, and it's this breakaway cheap ass aluminum casting that the base of this giant big light post is. And so he pulls off and crushes the base of this thing, and this thing goes
Oh no.
and cuts off 8 lanes of traffic going 2 ways in and out of the Holland Tunnel. And we drive off. Hey! Like, nope, don't stop, don't turn around, man. And like it was in the the TV and newspaper, like, accident holds up traffic in Holland Tunnel for 4 hours, whatever the hell it was, So 2 New York stories.
I got 2 of them. All right.
More, but those are things that stick in my head, I guess.
Yeah.
There's one more. There's a new music seminar. So we would do was it new music seminar?
Yeah.
We got some shows for new music.
I got a video clip of this one while you're talking. Yeah, I think.
So, when you're not doing the, when you're not performing or, running around picking up swag, that's the fun part. Anyways, you get to go to all these other acts' shows for free.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are pretty big. I remember seeing Dolby, Thomas Dolby, Ministry, Bootsy Collins.
Oh, Bootsy, we love Bootsy here.
I saw, but the Cult.
Okay.
I didn't see the Cult. I wasn't there for the show, but apparently, I think it was Mike Bishop. It was Liz Fairbairn, our manager at the time, and Dave Brocky. And he goes to see the Cult at this club. And apparently, at one point, Ian, what's his face? Is that his name?
Ian Astbury, I think.
Ian Astbury. And I love the Cult, even though they seem like dicks. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, he's during the show, and then he starts bad mouthing Metallica, like like Metallica is a bunch of bullshit. Metallica, I don't know, something like that, And Dave just, because he's a Metallica fan at the time.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
He just bristles, turns towards the stage, storms up towards the front of the stage. He doesn't need a microphone. He's one of the naturally loudest people I've ever heard. It's like that big head of his has a lot of resonance. He's like, "Oh, fuck you," and he makes his way all up to the front of the stage. He's bitching out Ian, apparently, and Ian responds like this. Apparently, at some point, he says something, then he goes, "And that's why I'm up here and you're down there." And he takes the microphone and he bonks him on the head. And then 2 big club bouncers just swoop in and carry him off and throw him out of the club, man.
Oh, man. I thought you were going to talk about the drug seminar.
The drug seminar is a good one, too.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not as funny as the Ian Ashbury.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because it's...
I wonder if there's a bootleg of that.
The drug seminar was intentional. The Ian Ashbury incident was completely by accident, right?
This was a nice blue suit you had going on here.
This is the powder blue I had, and I had the bigger hair. Overall, it occupies more size. It's a better balanced piece, and it was lighter, and it wouldn't tip forward because there was as much in the back and all around as there was out here. And the new design, I had to add a counterbalance because it was front heavy. I was trying to my most recent sleazy wig, and there are people who say I like the old wig better. There's 3. There's that one you're seeing right there, which is carved foam with rope on it. Then the second one, which is a clay sculpt version of that. I think you see that in Phallus of Wonderhand and Skullhead Face. Yeah, I think in Skullhead Face, that's the rubber version of it. And then, but the problem is I couldn't hear. If you can't hear yourself in the monitor well, man, it's just
that's not good.
Hard to sing, and I would only sing a couple times. I would I needed to hear myself, because it was
Sure.
hard. I'm not a natural singer anyway, so you have to hear yourself through the monitors. And anyways, that's the kind of the origin, the three versions of that. And then also what we found out was these polyester suits are just a total fucking, they're a disaster after a few shows. You got to wash them, or and then they lose all the crispness and it's all floppy and it doesn't look like it's a nice leisure suit. So that's where Danielle came in, and she did Danielle's a great designer because she came up with the
Yeah.
iconic sleazy costumes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still doing great work. She just worked on Stranger Things.
Uh-huh. Yeah, she works on she's the most successful of the solo GWAR members. So she runs a studio shop, I believe, in LA.
Yeah, I've seen the website. It's impressive. Done stuff for Lady Gaga, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. So she did once we decided, I think it was probably her idea, is like, let's switch to vinyl so that the shit will wash off. So the vinyl, is a twofer, right? It looks cooler, but it was a suit that would hold its shape and survive spew. And that's why you see that it became a vinyl suit.
Gotcha. Oh,
Danielle.
that's smart.
I did
Yeah.
pieces for her costume though too. So we're
Right.
all over each
Yeah.
other.
Sure.
I did the skull pieces that were on her shoulders, both
You mean
versions.
the spiked bra wasn't meant for you?
I didn't do this. I didn't do the spike bra. She designed the spike bra. I did the shoulder pieces and I think maybe a gauntlet or two or something like that.
So I did want to. This is a terrible small picture, but this is a flyer for the LA Palladium show, and there was actually a story where somebody climbed onto the speakers and I guess jumped all off from all the way up and like crushed a bunch of people, and that was actually an influence for a Haunted Garage song called
Oh
Five Dead
wow. Well,
Stage Divers.
here's the story as I heard it, that it happened at the Omni in Oakland because they have
Hmm.
balconies up there. You can take a look and see that the Omni in Oakland has balconies. And I verified that just recently because I was talking about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on my show. And so somebody apparently jumped off the balcony and they didn't warn the people down below, right? And it broke somebody's neck. Now you're
Wow.
kind of conflating two stories and then locating
Maybe.
them in the wrong place. And then there's
I'm
another
just
story.
secondhand information from
No,
me.
I'm not
Yeah.
clarified. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you shit or anything.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
expect you to be an expert, but you will be after this.
Yeah.
So, so we got sued though in Philadelphia. I can't remember which club that was. Is there a Limelight there as too, or Wells too, or something like
I'm
that?
not
The
sure.
Liberty. Might have been called the Liberty. Anyways, somebody climbed up on top of the PA column at the Liberty, and when they jumped off the tweeter cone, which was pretty big, that section of the stack fell off. It wasn't correctly secured.
Oh, wow.
And when he jumped off, it threw the thing off balance, and that apparently a big old tweeter cones part fell off and injured somebody, and they sued the club and they sued GWAR. And this lawsuit was bouncing back and forth. The club was going, GWAR, and we were going, no, it's them. And if I remember correctly, I think maybe it's captured on videotape, which is probably what saved us. Hunter Jackson having somebody, and you can see it was a fan, and it was the club not providing the security. But anyways, that I think is what I heard, secondhand, third hand, was that the person who jumped off the balcony in the Omni, as I heard it, maybe it was the Palladium.
Because this is straight from Dookie Flyswatter himself.
What I heard was it happened at the Omni, and then when we were doing a show, I think it was in what's that? That one Mexican town we'd always do. We'd always go across to Mexico and do
Tijuana. Yeah, I've heard
place.
iguanas.
Yeah,
I've heard crazy stories about GWAR shows at iguanas.
Yeah, those are some fucked up GWAR shows. We were pretty drugged out, I think, at one of them at least. But anyways, did a lot of acid on the West Coast.
Yeah.
A lot of acid coming around. There was a show in LA we did where Danielle got really heavily dosed and she just went out of her mind. I was like, ran out in the fucking streets and she had to be retrieved naked or something like that. But anyways, so somebody's at some pre-show party or after-show party or something, I think, and Tijuana, and this girl bragging how it was me. I jumped off the balcony at the Omni and killed that guy. I don't know. Didn't hear it direct, but that's what came back to me about that story. So Dookie Flyswatter did a song about it, huh?
Well, he saw it happen because he was
Okay.
at the show, and it inspired a song. Yeah.
Well, then that sounds like a pretty solid, credible witness. That maybe it was in addition to
could
the
be
one that happened in the Omni, because it's happened more than once.
Yeah, it could
Did he say it killed anybody? Or did
he
just
didn't.
say
He
somebody
did not say. He just said that it was pretty brutal and like interesting to watch, I guess.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
believe it was that one because Green Jelly also played.
Totally believable that it happened both places. Something about West Coast kids scare me.
I could see why.
There's something about them. There's this recklessness mixed with stupidity, a blend of it that's just definitely, extreme, radical. It's like there's something always brewing in that that scene, and it was so naturally that shit, if it happened, would happen twice. It happened on the West Coast.
Yeah, I believe
remember doing a show in Sacramento. It was raining spit. They were so behind the times.
Yeah, that's like a 70s punk thing.
English punk exploited thing was still cool, and this is the late 80s, dude. It's like, and I caught a loogie right in the mouth.
Now here's something nobody can answer me solid. Did GWAR ever play a show with Haunted Garage?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so. God, I mean, saw plenty of Dookie.
Hunter thinks so, but no one from Haunted Garage thinks it actually happened.
Okay, you know what?
I don't know.
I think they came out for, we played this one club. I can't remember what it was. It has this kind of underground garage that you drive into in the back.
I'm not sure.
And there
I know
was
you played
hanging out, doing stuff. It was like we appreciated doing that club because load-in was easy and there was a lot of room there to do stuff like wash stuff, with a hose and lay it out and let it dry. That's always a big plus. If we do a club that has some sort of outdoor secured area where we can clean props and stuff like that. But yeah, I remember Dookie being at that club and couple of times, Yeah.
I know Candilejas was a club I think Liz used to book out there, and that's a
That was in
place
San Francisco
where it possibly could have happened. But I can't find any
I remember it was
solid
the Kennel Club.
evidence.
I thought
Which one?
she was doing the Kennel Club. It was called.
Maybe she was doing both. Yeah, that sounds familiar too.
It sounded like the same thing, just Spanish.
Might be.
Candelejas's
Actually, that's very possible. I'm not from the West Coast, so I can't
that doesn't sound
confirm
right.
that.
It sounds like candle mass as opposed to dog pen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways,
one of them could be a name of a party that happened within the venue or something like that. You never know.
Yeah, she ran a small club in San Francisco, and Dave decided that you'd be a good candidate to be our manager.
Right. Because I think she's the one who originally introduced Dookie and GWAR.
Okay.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
Yeah, she knew the Chili Peppers. She did some prop costume work for them. The crazy.
You mean she made some socks?
The famous Flea stuffed animal pants.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, that was something she did.
Well, any last words? You want to promote your show?
Wednesday, 10.
Are you going to be live tomorrow?
Saturday, yeah, I'll be on tomorrow night. I'm back on air. Saturday at 10, and Sunday on Twitch at 10.
And Rumble is this new thing that you're on.
Yeah, I gotta
I've never heard of it except from you.
better and figure out so I can do multiple platforms at once. I'm gonna start doing that. soon because I got to build
What?
a presence on Rumble because
Yeah.
it's likely I'll get kicked off of YouTube. You know, already been kicked off, had twice now, so I can't keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I can
Smoke a little,
tell.
drink a little, and
Yeah.
then
You
I
get that
say,
sleazy hair on and you're just crazy.
yeah. It's just like that character's all about saying what you think. That's why
Yeah.
people love that character. Everybody they love somebody who sits there and says what they think and then gets away with it. Yeah, of course I can't get away with it,
Right.
in real life.
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I
Well,
do it a
let's
little
see.
bit. It doesn't
Oh,
work out great for me, but people appreciate it as a when it comes from a character.
well, actually, yeah, let me promote the upcoming shows. As I said, AJ Good's the next one. I'm gonna do this every 2 weeks as far as I can take it. Uh, we got one of Techno Destructo's Space Dominatrix Paramorg is gonna
Is
come
he doing
on.
a live stream show now?
Techno, no, but he's
Oh,
still doing the wrestling shows when he
yeah.
can. Yeah. Uh, Steve Douglas is gonna be on the show in November, live
You
from
know what? See if you
Australia.
can't get some contact info from him because I never interviewed him for the doc I
Sure.
was going to do, and
I talked to him on Facebook.
he's a crucial part of that
Yeah, Death Piggy.
Death Piggy days. Death Piggy transition to GWAR. He
Yep.
was, as you can see, he's ball sack there for at least
Mhm.
the PB Kelly show.
Well, he recorded Hello, didn't he?
Yes, and then he came back.
Oh,
So like
okay.
he did PB Kelly's, and then he was spending more time. I think he felt like Mud Helmet, which was
Mm.
his alt kind of a post punk country alt metal rock alt punk band,
Okay.
called Mud Helmet was going to, he's pouring more into that.
Well, we'll talk to him all about it.
Yeah, well,
It'll
ask
be
him about Mud Helmet,
yeah,
and
for
how he was
sure.
in GWAR, and then out of GWAR, and then in GWAR, and then out of GWAR again.
Yeah, he's living in Australia now, so it's
I
gonna
know.
be like 16-hour difference.
He seems pretty happy from what I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah, he's doing some ska band. Colette Miller's gonna be on in
Holy shit.
November. Yeah.
You're doing exactly what I planned on doing with my What Did You Do in the GWAR Daddy?
Oh, really?
You're doing
Well,
a
so
great job of it. You beat me to it.
I beat you to it.
I was
I
gonna, but
figured, you
I
know
can, hey, all these people need to be revisited and
yeah,
interrogated in depth.
there's
So
enough room for everybody.
I believe so. I believe so.
There's so much GWAR. Oh, and then if you can go back and watch the first episode with Scott Barber, and then, yeah, we're just getting started with this show. Tell your friends.
The true story of the sickest band in the world. Oh,
Let's
okay. They did put odorous on the front. I was a little worried about that.
I don't know about the Blu-ray cover, but that was like the theatrical, the Shutter poster, I guess. Yeah. And let's see. Oh yeah, and then if you want, I consider this episode 0 my regular show. I had Hunter on. We talked for 4.5 hours. So if you haven't watched that, check it out.
What's the view total on that so far?
There's a couple hundred at least. Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna boost that for
yeah,
you here.
yeah. Thank you. It's all on the same channel. So if you're here, hit that like button, subscribe. You know what to do.
You know what to do.
You
You
know
know what?
what
You
to
got to tell
do.
them what to do, anyways.
And
I
then
don't like telling them what to do either.
yeah, but sometimes you got to do it because
You have to be. People need to be reminded.
you
I
got to
realize
be
I have to be
reminded.
reminded.
We got to beat the algorithm here. More
Yeah.
GWAR on YouTube. Unrelated to GWAR. Thursday, if you like me, I'm doing a virtual listening party for my new album that's coming out this week. Even though a lot of my music is more in the heavier, punkier side, this stuff is kind of all over the place. But
Is
check
there
it out.
some stuff of yours that's on YouTube right now?
Yeah, yeah. So you can
Okay.
all check it out. The whole album's going to be out on Friday on all the platforms, though.
Okay,
So
I'll have to listen to some Bonesper.
yeah, thank you.
Is that what you're calling yourself? What's
Yeah,
your
Kevin Vonesper.
Von
Well,
Esper?
it's a fake. It's a
I
fake
like
last name,
Bonesper
so
better.
it's up to
Yeah.
interpretation.
So it's Vonesper.
That's what I say, but it's not a real
Vonesper.
name, so
Okay.
it's open to interpretation.
No, I'm going with
And then
I'm not
I
going to misgender you. It's
no,
Vonesper.
no, that's
Vonesper.
okay. Uh, I finally put the new art in. That's original artwork for my documentary from Chad
Life and Slimes
Spears.
of Dookie Fly Swatter and Haunted Garage.
Yeah.
So that's a documentary you're doing with them?
Yes.
Nice.
Someone already did the GWAR one, so I'm doing Haunted Garage.
Shit.
And
Well, it'd be easy. You know what though? That's the problem with that doc is it's too brief for too much. And
yeah.
I didn't get around to saying my complaint was it felt
Oh,
like
by all
it
means.
became about people dying, like the last third of it. And you can't get around that,
Mhm.
the tragedies that happened. You have to deal with it. But when you're doing it in a roughly 2-hour documentary,
Yeah. We
it
all
it
want the series.
it becomes other things. A lot of other things that went on are kind of neglected. It's
What is one thing that's not in the documentary that you wish was?
well, the work I did. But
The
how are
whole
you going to fit that in there? You know, just have a part where I go, and I did this, and I did this, and I did
right,
this, and this is mine, and this is mine, and that was my idea. Who wants to listen to that?
right.
I'm sure you're losing concurrence right now. Yeah,
I think we
having
just
me
dropped a
say
few,
stuff
yeah.
like that because it sounds, but unfortunately, I'm getting to realize now. I've watched some docs about like Jack Kirby and
Hmm.
how his role at the time, was kind of downplayed at as opposed to Stan Lee, you know, and it's not like he's more important than Stan Lee, but at the same time, um,
Big influence
didn't
on GWAR.
receive enough credit for the things that he created and designed. I don't think he wasn't played up as much as he should have been. And
Mhm.
so, it started me thinking, it's like, I think I better just, I gotta fucking make, I better mark my territory
This is the
and
time to
shoot
do it,
my
strike.
horn because nobody else is going to. No one else is going
Nobody else is doing this, man. I'm cornering the GWAR market right now. The GWAR cast isn't doing anything anymore, and the name was right there, GWARPod.
yeah. GWARcast, that's right. I forgot about those guys.
Yeah,
Didn't they just podcast though?
they had a podcast. It wasn't a video show, so it was still a little bit different, but they can come
Video
back
show,
too.
video show better. I don't know. Some
Thank you.
people,
I think
I guess they
so.
like podcasts because what? You can listen to it on your phone or
But GWAR is a
something.
very visual medium.
Yeah. I mean, we were showing
So,
stuff we were talking about all throughout the show, and you need to see that.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
I wanted an actual GWAR member to try to kind of like kick off the first month of this show.
And you got two now, right? So,
Well, I had Scott Barber. He was the director of the documentary.
right.
You're number two. Yes, I got some more coming on, but not
Well, I
yet.
thought you did Hunter Jackson already.
Oh yes, I
So,
did Hunter, but technically I hadn't started GWAR Pod yet. So that was on my other regular show.
oh, so
I
this is the
consider that
first.
I
This
consider
is the
that
first
episode
GWARPod.
0. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
Well,
definitely. So this is yeah, Hunter
great to
definitely.
be part of history. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
opportunity.
Oh, and she's back, and we are just ending. So I'm
All right,
gonna. You know what I
one.
forgot to do is I forgot to do my theme song.
What theme song is
You
that?
want to see the theme song?
Yes.
GWARPod comes from online. GWARPod. GWARPod. GWARPod.
Just slightly out of key enough to
Yeah,
dodge the copyright issues, man.
you
Well
get it.
done.
You get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And original art by Hunter too.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, that was nice of him.
Well, you
What
pay people
did
to
he do
do
that for
things.
free? What did he do?
No, no, I paid him for it, but he
Oh,
was happy
okay.
to do it.
Good. Good. I'm
Yeah,
glad you paid him.
yeah. I respect my
People
artists.
people need money.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't ask him to do it for free. I
I
offered,
thought
of
maybe there's
course.
a quid pro quo or something going on. So,
I wish.
all
Well, yeah.
right.
Thank you so much. I'm going to end this with my trailer for my documentary if you want to check it out. And then I'm going to, it's late here in New York. So
12:30.
yeah,
2.
I have an early job, but
Sorry about that.
no, this is
I stay up
awesome.
late.
I,
So this is
me
my
too, me too.
this is my prime time.
I'm a creature of the night, like the Kiss
I go to
song.
bed at 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's what I usually do. I'm still adjusting.
Yeah, I got to get back to normal. My wife's mad at me.
I don't like normal. I wish everything would just conform to me, but you know. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's
All
do
right.
this again, maybe next year.
Sooner than that.
Okay, sooner than that.
Yeah.
There's still more GWAR to talk about, and then
It's like a Tinder date, right? We have to give it
Yeah.
the right amount of time where it doesn't seem desperate and
Right.
pushy, but at the
yes,
same time doesn't seem repetitive. And
exactly.
so we'll say 2 months, something like that.
Well,
I
I
think
think
it's
I'm
cute.
booked. I think I'm booked till next year, basically, right
Oh,
now.
really?
Yeah, if I'm gonna do this every 2 weeks, yeah,
Oh,
that's a
really?
lot
Why
of
aren't you doing it
people.
once a week?
I don't want to over GWAR people and also
I'm
myself.
telling you, man. People are going to be seeing this in repeat more than
Well,
they
you know
will be
what?
seeing.
It could always change. Maybe
So
I
they can
will.
binge. They will, if you do it once a week, they can binge more, come across it and go, wow, look at all these interviews and
Yeah.
binge it. But whatever.
Well, we'll see.
It's your
Maybe
show.
it will. If you guys leave the comments. If it's overwhelming, we will do more. I
Okay.
could talk GWAR all day, every day.
So can I.
Well, great. Well, thank
All
you
right,
so much.
man.
I'm going to leave this with my trailer for my documentary, dookiedoc.com. Check it out.
Mr. Vonesper.
See you later, man.
Bye.
To be discussion about the importance of danger, chaos, the possibility of something happening that really wasn't on the schedule.
Mr. Dookie Fly Swatter and
The Haunted Garage!
If you took 80s slasher movies and put it in a blender with metal and punk rock, you're gonna get Haunted Garage.
Dookie and his crew were almost like making horror movies, horror punk.
But the gag is, you're in the splash zone.
It is splatter rock. It is chainsaw rock and roll.
Not only chainsaw them, but would pull the guts out and spread them all over the place.
It's like going to a horror movie, except it's actually happening.
There was this real fervor at the time about shock rock, how bad it was for the kids.
The shock value was exactly what I wanted.
I look over and I see Dookie with his arms on fire.
The flashes from the rear end.
He got brain surgery live on stage.
Whenever you find something weird, we'll give a use for it.
It's not an act that we put on to go on stage.
We were real.
There was some shit being exercised right there.
That was the raw stuff.
You walk out of there feeling like you've maybe left the planet for a little while.
Their legacy is they were unique.
They did things that weren't being done, and they did things that were outside of people's comfort zones.
Dookie was always just ahead of his time on that.
But it really rocked hard. I mean, he had really good musicians in the band.
We didn't want it to be only this deep. We wanted it to be this deep.
It's Haunted Garage. That's the whole point of taking things too far.
They just were doing it to have a good time and make you laugh.
It was always fucking fun.
Actually, we're a lot more stable than I think Bill Cosby.
I don't know how to explain it. It exploded.
Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons.
Tom Waits was there.
We blind Axl Rose.
When you're sitting between Dookie and Elvira, it doesn't get any cooler than that.
There were lines around the block to see Haunted Garage. They were the it band at the time.
Those guys were gods to who they were gods to.
Hey,
he's an icon of the underground exploitational genre.
Punk rock god of Hollywood.
Bela Lugosi's horrible punk rock grandson.
G.G. Allen, but fun.
He's like a friendly vampire.
He was LA's Peter Lorre.
You need somebody in a movie, that's the guy that you want.
Roger Ebert said it's the worst movie he's ever seen. Cold Steel, Sharon Stone? Who knew? He had a great writing career.
He puts everything he's got into it. He made his whole life his art.
I think that the whole world should know about it.
Now I'm gonna cry.
Slam, 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 slam.
Wait a minute, you're gonna get this.
Oh, thank you.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Welcome to my pity party. Everyone's invited. Celebrate your misery. Apart but united. Hits. I'm writing hits. Recording hits.
I'm making hits, and you don't wanna miss it.
Comment below! Comment below! Comment below!